Are you ready?
Hello and welcome. I'm Melinda Gainsford-Taylor and we are set for an absolutely amazing track meet tonight. Luckily, I'm being joined by four-time Olympian Benita Willis. Now, Benita, what are you looking forward to?
Hey Mel, yeah, I'm mostly looking forward to the 1500s. In the women's 1500 tonight, I really can't wait to see Jenny Blundell run. She's the fastest time of the year this year, and she's just off that Olympic qualifier, so it's going to be set up as a fast race. We also have Zoe Buckman and also Heidi C, who were second and first respectively last year in the national championships. So it'll be good to see them back here. Zoe's coming back from a little injury, ran well in Melbourne, so I think she'll run well tonight. In the men's 1500, well, you know, the youngster Luke Matthews and also Ryan Gregson. It's going to be a fantastic race. Ryan's undefeated this year, and Luke Matthews, that fantastic race over in Melbourne in the 800 against Rhodesia. So those two head-to-head will be awesome. And just the little fella called Adam Pike, I think watch out for him as well.
That's absolutely going to be special to watch. Now, we've got the wonderful Robbo and Mossy trackside yet again. Now, Robbo, what are you looking forward to?
Mel, I can't wait to sink my teeth into the women's sprints, and I know that it's an event near and dear to your heart. The women's 200 metres in particular, Ella Nelson, our new queen of the bend. She's been on fire all season. She ran the quickest time in 16 years, actually, since yourself at the Sydney Olympics down in Canberra a few weeks ago, and she's going to be looking to touch up that PB tonight. She's run twice now here at the Sydney Track Classic in the last 2 years, got the win, got the PB. Can she make it three? In the shorter sprint, 100 metres, Melissa Breen. She's been knocking on the door for that qualifier all season. 11.32. She's achieved that with wind assistance, but tonight, hopefully she can do it fully legal and we can get her on that plane to Rio. So that's going to be very exciting. And we've got Mossy out in the field. Mossy, I know you love the field events, mate. What are you most looking forward to out there?
Yeah, well, you guys can have your distance and your sprints. I'm all about the throws tonight. We have a couple of mouth-watering exchanges. In the men's javelin, we've got bronze medalist at the Glasgow Commonwealth Games, Hamish Peacock from Tasmania. He's undefeated this year, 19 centimetres short of the Olympic Games qualifier last week. It'll be interesting to see how well he goes tonight. He'll be up against Stuart Farquhar, the 34-year-old from New Zealand. He's in the twilight of his career, but he's looking for a final Olympic Games. We've also got Danny Samuels here today. 65 metres she has to cover. Well, she's already covered that 4,000 times, it seems. She is absolutely the darling of the discus. Right here on Sydney, the Olympic Park here, she has thrown three of her top 10 performances of all time. So I reckon she may even go close to Daniela Kosygin's national record.
So there we go, an amazing preview of what's ahead tonight. So sit down, relax. It's a 2016 Australian Athletics Tour, the Sydney Track Classic. Well, there we are. What a wonderful night. Luckily, I've got Benita Willis right next to me, enjoying it. We've been out here all day for the New South Wales State Championships, and boy, in that little preview, we've just got some great races, and I'd like to welcome you too, Benita. Thanks for coming with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Mel. I'm really excited to be here tonight, and living over in Queensland. I've just arrived here today, and I'm excited about tonight. There's so many good races and field events as well.
And as we were walking back from that introduction, noticing a lot of athletes still waiting up in the stands. We're very lucky tonight to have the opportunity for our under-15s and under-17-year-olds, men and women, running the 100 metres, which really, it's, you know, such a great opportunity for them to be able to be in an event like this that hopefully one day they'll also be competing with.
Oh, yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity, and I was certainly involved in little athletics when I was a kid, and over in Brisbane, in Queensland, we've got the same thing going on there. And actually, our Queensland little athletics, we have a few in the main program, but there's only a 20-minute gap between when it finishes to the main events tonight. So it is so fantastic seeing the kids competing and trying lots of of different things as well. And certainly when you're a kid, you don't really know what event you like, and you don't want to specialise too early. So I think Little Athletics just gives everyone an opportunity to try some fun events and meet new people and make new friends as well.
I know there was a lot of little athletes that would love to stay, over here, but to watch tonight. But they have to get home and get prepared. But we're just about to go to a little break, and we'll be back very soon and to get started in this fantastic Sydney Track Classic. And there's everyone in the crowd getting ready for this wonderful event tonight, but also we're very lucky over the back track to, they've got the IAAF Nestle Healthy Active Kids. There's a lot of kids that stay behind there. You can see them over the back track, just having experiences. And, one of the things that you want to do, Benita, is to get kids involved. It's just an opportunity for them not only to be active because it's so important for their health, but also too to have an opportunity like this program, which is great that Athletics Australia does.
Oh, it's a fantastic initiative, and I think just making sport fun for kids is something that we really need to do across the board in Australia, and it's fantastic that Athletics Australia are putting on this clinic, and the kids are coming out here to see the senior athletes compete later, but also have some fun first and getting fit at the same time.
Yes, you can see it over there before. There's Mosso, Robbo and Mossy. It's so funny. We talk about their name, don't we? I mean, they just sometimes think they're the one name, Mossy and Robbo. But they're just such great supporters too of track and field. It's wonderful following them on Instagram and Twitter. But you can see the kids in the background having a lot of fun as well. And now the boys are ready. They're going to tell us a little bit more about this IAAF Nestle Healthy Kids Active. Well, they don't look really quite ready yet, so here he is. There you are, Robbo.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mel. We're actually just going to pick up here with Jill Taylor. Now, we had a quick chat with Jill down in Melbourne for the IAAF Melbourne World Challenge, and Jill, we've got to...
That's not going through, is it?
Sorry, we're just going to swap over your microphone there. There you go, Mossy.
It's to introduce children to athletics in a fun, inclusive way so they can come on the track and have a great time.
Excellent. And how can kids get involved in this? If they're watching, people are watching at home today, they're wanting to try and get their school involved. How do they go about doing that?
Kids Athletics is run in Australia through the Sporting Schools program, a Sports Commission program. So they can contact Athletics Australia and we'll help them, or they can speak to their school and ask them to register with the Sporting School program.
Jill, just give us a bit of an indication. I mean, what do the kids get out of this themselves?
They get a huge amount of fun. It's a team competition, so they learn how to work together. They learn some basic skills that will hopefully encourage them to keep going with their athletics, and it prepares them to join our sport.
Well, we're all big kids, really, aren't we? So it's great to see the youngsters here getting really excited about the sport of running, jumping, throwing, walking, and I love what you guys are doing. I love the shirts as well. Fantastic branding around the whole thing, and it's all about making it fun, isn't it? So great to chat with you again, Jill. Thanks again for your time.
Lovely, thanks very much.
Keep up the good work, and back up to Mel and Benita. How good's that, guys?
Thank you very much, guys. Look, it is a wonderful concept. There on the right-hand side is Darren Windsor, who's part of New South Wales Little Athletics and does a wonderful job. And, you know, we talk about going into the schools because when you see a lot of these school competitions, there's so much talent there. And, you know, to get them involved in Little Athletics is fantastic. And, you know, the whole thing is, and I'm quite lucky too, Benita, because I get to coach these young kids. For them, it's just about pure enjoyment. You know, that's what's important. How did you start with athletics?
Yeah, I started with Little Athletics just in Mackay, North Queensland, and it's now the Kathy Freeman Oval, but at Slade Point Athletics Track, and just having fun with my friends just really helped me to probably know that I didn't want to be a thrower or things like that, but I just tried a lot of things and really enjoyed it. And certainly, yeah, like New South Wales, Queensland's got a lot of talent, and we've got something similar happening in Brisbane here today. And just the kids, yeah, they just love being outside and being active. And when you set something like this up, I think relays are a really good idea. We see them throwing some little sandbags here and stuff that's not always measured and the times aren't always compared to other kids. I think that's really important, and to keep them in the sport for as long as we can, and to be as old as us and still be running around there and coaching and motivating them. I think that's something that we want to see these kids go through their life and their kids as well.
Yeah, and Robbo mentioned before it's about jumping, throwing, running, and it's amazing how important those skills are, no matter in what sport they do. That's one of the things I always talk about athletics, and Little Athletics is great, how to teach you how to run fast, to teach you, you know, how to run properly, because it's such a technical event.
Yeah, it's so technical, and I think overall body strength is so important. And, you know, you see these kids, they're doing some throws, they're doing some little plyometric jumping exercises, and, you know, they're doing relays, they're doing a lot of coordination work. And I think, you know, we can't just teach them one skill, and it's so fun just to have them learning all these different things. I can see Jill here with the kids, and, you know, it's just great that Athletics Australia put these clinics on and certainly support the youngsters coming through. And I bet they go home and they just talk about this for months.
You know, talking about fun, that is the most important thing. You know, being involved now, you know, my daughter's involved in Little Athletics, and, you know, being involved as a parent, but also my coach's hat on. That's one of the things I say to my athletes is you need to enjoy the moment, and a lot of them even coming to the state championships that we have this week. It's a really big deal, and, you know, regardless of the outcome, they've got to remember that. But, you know, I get excited just from the fact if they do a personal best. You know, of course, if you win or, you know, get a medal, it's sensational. But, you know, if they just get out there and do the best they can, that's all you can really ask.
Yeah, and I think that kind of thing is always so important to keep telling them, because we don't want them to specialise too early and to think too much about things and get upset if they might not have done their best time or something like that. But just the participation and to be having fun is so important. And I think, yeah, you do. I saw you last week in Perth at the National Junior Championships, and I love being a part of that. And, yeah, it's just fantastic seeing them all come through and have so much of a good time from things like this, which is just the grassroots. You know, and you see kids here, they're from all different areas in Sydney. You know, there's no, you know, which parents have the most money to pay. It's, you know, everyone in, and I think that's really something that's special and something. Athletics is such an inclusive sport, and it brings us, I mean, all four of us commentators here today, we're all from country areas in Australia, so we're not from the big smoke, and, you know, we didn't go to the biggest private schools, but we still all converge here tonight, and, you know, we've had such different journeys, but athletics has brought us together, and I think I'd love these kids to have the same journey as us.
Yeah, look, to have that passion, and you're funny, you talk about the country kids. You know, I've been out to Mudgee just recently, and a couple of the kids are competing here today, and it's amazing going out to Mudgee and being on the grass track. Now, I'm based at Narrabeen, and I'll tell you what, it's, you know, even though it probably needs to be relayed, it's pretty sensational. And just to think, I was saying that today, for these kids to excel like that, to come and make it to state based on running on a heavy track, which I know one of the dads, Kieran, the night before I went there, had to mow it, you know, to make sure it was fine. But you know, that's what's so fantastic about it, is that they can come together here and, you know, and some of them say it's just about even buying the T-shirt that says, you know, I've been to the state championships, and so they should be.
Yeah, I remember travelling on the bus overnight from Mackay to Brisbane just to run on the track, on the red track in the state championships, and certainly it was something that was a highlight of my school days in primary school and high school. And, you know, we'd always have breakfast as soon as the bus arrived in Brisbane, and I'd take my big toe for the race. And I love seeing these kids just having the same opportunities as we did. When, you know, nowadays there's so much TV they can watch and so many things inside that they can do that we probably didn't think about. We didn't think about Instagram or Facebook when we were kids.
I know. And here we can see now on the track the men's high jump warming up. There's Joel Baden, 20 years old from Victoria. He actually has a PB of 2:29, which is pretty extraordinary. Which is the Olympic qualifier, which unfortunately that jump that he did was prior to the time period that was required to actually do an Olympic qualifier. But unfortunately tonight we don't have Brandon Stark. In Melbourne he had a bit of a niggle, and one of the things is you want to protect your body, don't you, really, to move forward with that. And he does already have an Olympic qualifier, but it would give the opportunity for someone like Joel Baden to hopefully get that qualifier, because that's what tonight's about, the athletes, isn't it? They don't really want to go to the Australian Athletics Tour trying to still chase for one. If you can put one to bed as such, it's just so much better, isn't it, to prepare then later on in the year for the actual Olympics.
Yeah, and we both know what it's like. It's very hard to go to the national championships without a qualifier and trying to grab it there, or trying to make heights like we are here tonight when you're trying for top 3 places. So they want to get the qualifiers tonight.
Yeah, if you look at it is important, and we always talk about conditions. I mean, one of the things I've noticed today about the conditions, it's been quite swirly. We've had a lot of headwinds earlier, and then as time's gone on, there is a little bit more a tailwind. So from that point of view, I can tell you, and it's probably not always a good thing to do, but as a sprinter, it's just one of the things you turn up and look at. Do you ever, as a distance runner, sit there and worry about the weather as such when it comes to wind?
Oh, we worry about the heat more than wind.
I can imagine why.
So, that's why there's so many great distance races tonight, as opposed to Brisbane having more of the sprints and things like that. But there's a few good sprints here tonight too. But yeah, distance runners, I think we tend to think about the pacemakers, who's going to do what in the race, and what times we need to do for each lap to get the qualifiers that we're after. So a bit of a different thought process, but it's all along the same lines, is that you don't want to be chasing a time at the national championships, and if you do get the time and you win or you come second, and certainly I've been in that position before, it's fantastic.
Yes, and we've also too, you can probably see from the vision in the back to see the nice blue track. It's only been recently laid. I think the first championships was the New South Wales State Championships. There's been a lot of talk about it. If it's a sprinter's track, if it's a distance track, just depends who you talk to.
Yeah.
But moving on, talking about distance, and I don't know, there's so much athletics going on at the moment. We've got state delays, but it's just been so wonderful waking up and watching the World Indoors. We've had some performances by some Australians this morning. Want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, we've had Collis Birmingham and also Melissa Duncan in the 1500, and Brett Robinson as well in the 3K. And Brett Robinson made the final. Melissa made the final. Collis just missed it by one spot. But Brett Robinson, I love watching him race, and he's just improving, bit by bit. And certainly by the time he gets to the final, Melissa's final is on tomorrow, and I think Brett might have a day off, but I'd have to check that. But he qualified 10th fastest for the final, and I think when I did the World Indoors for the first time, it was a bit of a breakthrough race for me, and I think it is really important that we get these kids or young adults to these major competitions.
So there we are at the men's high jump, getting all prepared. It's quite a warm-up. That's obviously really important. A lot of work goes in. I love watching the high jump. Not that I've done a whole lot of it in my life. Did you ever do it at Little Ace?
Oh, a little bit of scissors, but never the flop, really.
Okay, so we're going to head back down to Robbo Omosi.
Thanks very much, Mel. And I'll tell you what, nice and sunny out here, Robbo. A perfect day, I would say, for athletics in comparison to Perth last week. But we're outside. But what about the indoors, my friend? So over there, we had some long jump go on today. Brooke Stratton, well, hasn't she been sensational so far? Well, we know this season she's just got the national record in the outdoors, 7:05. She went today 6:75, coming 5th. Chelsea Yenchin, her first ever jump in the green and gold. She came 11th, which is a pretty good spot. I guess guess it just goes to show the strength of where women's long jump is.
Well, that's right. And so those girls, they're in Portland at the moment. They're not here competing tonight, and they'll be sadly missed. But it opens the door for some of the younger athletes there. Na Anang, we just had a good chat to her, and Jess Penny as well. We've seen these guys there, that sort of next level at the moment. Maybe in the absence of Brooke and Chelsea, we might see them really step up and nab that third spot. Imagine that, 3 women's long jumpers at an Olympic Games, Mossy. It would be an amazing feat, and so that's what a very real possibility. Na Anang, same coach Gary Bourne as Chelsea Yench, so up there in Queensland. And look, it's going to be pretty exciting. We don't have anyone competing for Australia in the World Indoors at the high jump, but Mossy, if we just cast our mind back to this event last year, gee, it was exciting. It was probably one of the most exciting events of the season, and Brandon Stark, who is unfortunately an absentee here tonight, well, he cleaned up the Canadians, if you recall, and he jumped 2:29, and it was quite an amazing jump. I think it really put him on the road to that world champ success as well. So Brandon will be missed tonight. He's probably watching the live stream. Hope you're resting up, Brandon, wherever you are, and he'll be out looking to really stamp his authority on that spot to Rio very soon.
Absolutely, and that, as you said, leaves the door open for the win tonight. We've got Joel Baden, the 20-year-old from Victoria. Mel Gainsford-Taylor alluded to him. Well, he's a 2:29 jumper now. That's what he needs to get a qualification. He represented Australia in the 2015 World Championships. But big bad Nick Boyage is back, the tallest man in athletics. He's only jumped a 2:05 and a 2:10 so far this season, but he's changed coaches. He's actually gone to Gary Bourne, and a lot of people know Gary as a long jump coach. Well, he actually did his PhD in high jump coaching, and he's very, very excited tonight, Nick Boyage, just to blow a bit of the cobwebs out here on the bigger stage. So I'm looking forward to that. Navraj Singh is back as well, Randwa from Malaysia. He's jumped at 2:25 this season. So, yeah, high jump tonight. Keep a close eye on it because it's going to be red hot.
As we see Joel Baden, he's just warming up here as well, so come up from Victoria. Look, Mossy, you mentioned another Nick in the field, Nick Moroney. Now, he's got an incredible record. He's cleared 2:10 for about the last 40 years.
He's 65, isn't he?
Look, he's getting on a little bit now. We won't give his age away quite that far, Mossy, but yeah, from the Hunter region up there in Newcastle, and he's a journeyman of the high jump and a servant of the sport. Does a lot to help the sport as well, and we look forward to cheering him on tonight. So none of the big stars that we had maybe last year here at the Sydney Track Classic, but it's going to be a very exciting competition tonight.
Well, that's all we've got time for down here. We might throw this one back up to Mel Gainsford-Taylor and Benita Willis.
Thank you very much, guys. That was a wonderful preview. It's going to be a great opportunity for these young guys, to be able to. It's really unfortunate that Brandon Stark's not there, but as I said earlier, it's important for them to make sure that your body's number one. That's the most important thing, heading especially in an Olympic year. But it gives the great opportunity of Joel Baden. We mentioned about Raj before. He's been training actually with Brandon Stark. And Alex Stewart has been coaching. He's been out here 4 months, and he also too would like to qualify for the Olympics. But it's really mind-boggling, isn't it, how high they actually jump?
Oh, I can't get over it, and it's certainly everyone's so specific to their own event, and when I watch them, I just think it's so amazing, and they probably watch us, watched you sprint and me run around the track a million times. Like, it's just crazy, but that's what I love about track and field. It's just everything's so different.
And also, too, it's just that moment of, when they've unfortunately missed two, and just it's such a mental event that you've just got to really be able to pick yourself up again. You wonder, too, when you're going through this process of when, they're running up to the runway and they're going, okay, I'm trying to clear it. It's like sometimes if you're, for me, I look at it as being a sprinter, and you do a couple of false starts. In the warm-up, you're going, okay, we're not going to be doing that. But he's obviously sitting there maybe looking up to his coach to see if he can give him some feedback on his run up there, and you don't want to really mess it up when you've got that opportunity.
No, and I mean, you're putting yourself under so much pressure when you've got 2 failed attempts and you've got to try to clear the third one. And I think sometimes in some of the other events you're not under that extreme pressure for that moment. But certainly it's a mind game, and you really have to believe in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. All about preparation. You just sit there and watch that just to take off, make it look so easy. Absolutely easy.
Yeah, no, I'd say it's fairly good conditions for high jump. Doesn't look to be too windy. I don't know what they think about with conditions, but certainly they'd probably want it pretty still, and the guys all look ready to go.
Yeah, it's probably good to have one of the first events. As people are walking, into the stadium, they get the opportunity, and that's what I love about this Australian Athletics Tour, and also having the live stream through Athletics Australia is, we all get to know our athletes, and and that's important, especially for the profile of the sport, to be able to to have that opportunity. And, these young kids out here today, as I said, some of them staying behind. Mind you, some of them probably shouldn't. They should be home having a little rest. But it might be just that little bit of pickup they need, or that inspiration that they need from these athletes.
Yeah, and it just allows people from areas that aren't directly here in Sydney, and even if they are in Sydney and they can't make the meet, the whole of Australia can watch this and really learn from people that are at the top in the sport, and just something to aspire to as well. But yeah, you're right, Mel, getting to know our top people in the sport I think is really important, and to increase their profiles, because track and field hasn't got a huge profile, but we can always make steps to increase it, and that goes a long way from the grassroots all the way up to our elite athletes.
I love looking at this field because Nick Moroney is in there, and he's 43 years old from New South Wales. Now, I remember Nick, it was in my day, which I can't even believe I'm in the 40s, but anyway, it is, that's incredible to even think that even when I'm trying to do a drill or a start showing the kids my Achilles hurts, and I just saw Nick there preparing before, and boy, he can jump. He's still got some serious spring in his step.
Oh, it's impressive. Wow, 43.
43.
Yeah.
Can you just even imagine being 43?
Yeah,
I can.
Could be the oldest competitor in the meet. I don't know. I'll have to have a look at the stats. That's awesome.
Just at times make it look so easy. You can tell in their faces too whether or not, if they're happy with the jump or not. It's all about preparation. And I can imagine too in high jump, it's about visualisation as well.
Oh yeah, and I think preparation, believing that they can do what they can do, and being relaxed.
This is the 43-year-old man. I'm so sorry, Nick.
No.
Sorry to do that too. But I tell you what, you'd have to be impressed.
Oh,
absolutely impressed.
Nice, doing well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as the night goes on. We're up in the stand. It's getting a little bit cooler. So we haven't probably had a whole lot of heat coming off the track today. We've had a very hot summer, and sometimes when there's that heat on the track, it makes it that little bit quicker. But, having to be out there for that long and trying to keep warm, you would think also too for the jumpers being out that long, it'd make it very hard.
Yeah, I think they're probably happy they're up first and the sun's still there, and they'll be able to get their competition well underway before the sun goes down. But these guys look ready, and I just think it's just with the run-ups and things like that, just getting everything right. Conditions would always be different for every meet as well, so you'd have to be so knowledgeable about your body and about what you can do on certain days and where you're going. But yeah, I think just keeping yourself healthy is so important for all events across the board, but especially for high jump, and being able to do what they can do and jumping at their best.
We mentioned in the opener today it's going to be quite a night on the track, not only in the field. We're talking about the men's 1500. We've got the young kid on the block, and then we've got Ryan Gregson, who isn't that old either. He's I think is he about 29 years old, maybe even younger than that actually, 26 years old. It's going to make it a very good contest, and they're both training partners as well. Yeah,
they train over in Melbourne, in Melbourne Track Club. Those guys are great friends as well, and they hang out a lot together. But it's going to be a great match race between them, and certainly, Luke Matthews is coming off a fantastic Melbourne 800 metres, and Gregson's undefeated.
So here we are at the Sydney Track Classic. We'll be straight back after the break. So there we are. We're just introducing the men's high jump. They've just done their big warm-up and they're all really prepared. So we've got, as you can see, they're announcing Joel Baden. We've talked about Joel Baden. He's jumped 2:29, has a season's best of 2:24. And then along to, we'll go backwards, we've got Raj Rahana. He also has jumped 2:25. Nick Boyish, Tom Brennan, Nick Moroney, as I've mentioned before, and Liam Wainless, who is 20. He has a season's best of 1:95. So they're just preparing now, just about to start the men's high jump.
And I think everyone in this field is from a different state, looks like, which is interesting. Because sometimes, there's a couple of New South Wales guys, but sometimes one state dominates an event. So it's going to be a great competition.
As you saw all the jumpers lining up there, as Mossy had said, Nick Boyish is very tall. Sometimes you just think he could scissor kick over those, onto the mat. So he's incredibly tall, which I think would be very beneficial. He has a season's best of 2:10. He came 12th in the 2014 Commonwealth Games. He's been to a university games. He came 4th in 2013 and was 5th last year at the Australian Championships. You can feel there a bit of the wind coming through. Actually, for the jumpers, it'll be more of a headwind coming into that. They put all their shoes on. As for the young athletes at home watching and see, they're a little bit different than the sprint spikes.
Yeah, they look like they are going to have a bit of a headwind there, and a lot of them have got their jackets on. Just must be a bit cool down there on the track.
And the sun's sort of coming over on the west. Luckily, it won't be. It might be a little bit in their eyes as they jump over, but I'm sure they're used to that. There's Nick with a big smile on his face.
It's pretty good that he's got the number one there competing first and doing it for Queensland. Mm-hmm. He's our representative.
Oh.
It's got different coloured socks there.
Yeah.
I always find that interesting. With what people... Melissa Duncan raced in black socks today, and people just love wearing different things.
Well, there you go. Yeah, the different type. And you wonder too, when they're being put on, do you have to put the black one on first? Or then do you have to put the white one on first?
Yeah, superstitions.
Did you have any?
No, nothing like that really. I didn't like to have superstitions much, just in case, sometimes you couldn't do the same thing all the time. But I know certainly plenty of athletes are, all into it.
Oh, beautiful clearance. That's a good way to start. Just seeing come in, take off with the lead leg and clears it beautifully. There's Liam Wainless. I think we've talked, I've been watching the live stream actually over all the athletics tour. There's been a lot of talk about the man beards. They seem very popular now, not like the swimmers.
Yeah,
how they shave down.
Yeah. No need to shave down in track and field, and it's interesting. My cousin's a musician, and he's all over the man beard, so it's coming back into the track, and I love seeing it. It's just a bit of personality, and we have a lot of strong personalities in track and field. So I love this, but bringing it back into the high jump, it's pretty impressive. Well,
we're going to throw down to the boys at the track.
Yeah, g'day. We're down here trackside. The men's high jump behind me. We've got the women's long jump and also the women's discus not too far away, but right behind me it's going to start to heat up. It'll take a little bit of time. We've got Nick Boych, he's going to come in at 2:04. The Malaysian Randawa, he'll be at 2:08, and Joel Baden at 2:08. So if we look at those three, as we've mentioned before, Nick Boych, a former national champion. He did represent Australia at the Glasgow Commonwealth Games. Navraj Singh Randawa, he's from Malaysia. He's jumped to 2:25 for his PB so far this season down in Canberra. And looking at Joel Baden, the 20-year-old from Victoria, well, he's coming in at 2:08 tonight. They need to get 2:29. Let's see if they can come up with that one. So back up to you, Mel Gainsford-Taylor, and also Benita Willis.
Thank you so much, Mossy. That's some fabulous information there. That's interesting. You know, Joel Baden coming in at 2:08. You have to sit and wait around a fair bit. Probably that's why he had such a good warm-up we saw before going into it.
Yeah, because they could be waiting around for quite a while depending on how these guys go at the start. And, probably why they put all their jackets on too.
Another great clearance by Nick Moroney. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of break, is there, once you're out there? He's happy. Down, putting the sunnies on. I tell you what, that sun's pretty strong out there, where we realised that in the introduction.
Yeah, we got the sun in our face a bit and we're just standing there. So, it's pretty strong. It's, it's certainly gonna set, but it'll take a while. So these guys will get it for sure for a while.
Now the bar goes up. That was 195. Just trying to see here. I think I need to put my glasses on, Benita.
Yeah, I'm looking at the official. Yeah, 195.
195.
Yep.
You've got to love the officials, don't you? I mean, honestly, I have such admiration for them. You know, out in the heat, all sorts of elements of the weather.
Yeah, and we've got such a track and field is the sort of thing that we need a lot of officials for, and certainly, we just we need to encourage more younger people to become officials. And I know Athletics Australia have officiating courses now, so certainly, it's just great to see everyone out here. And
there's Liam Wainless. Unfortunately, hasn't cleared 195. He'll be disappointed with that. He was sort of on the takeoff, just seemed to tap it with his heels.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, just tapped it, and he's going to go back now for another attempt here. Yeah, we'd just like people to join in the chat on social media and just use the hashtag Summer of Us, whether you're Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. And big night of athletics tonight. We have Sydney and Brisbane. Join in the conversation. And when you search that hashtag, you can see what people have been talking about as well. And we love sharing all the information in athletics. So get on that hashtag, Summer of Us.
Oh, once again, the disappointment. You sometimes just have those days, don't you, where things don't quite work out. And that's unfortunate for Liam Wainless.
Yeah, I'm sure he's cleared higher than that before.
Yeah, well, his season's best is 195, so unfortunately do that. Now the bar's going up to 2 metres. Don't you? I just love watching, the field events, the support they get from each other. Nick Moroney just came over and tapped him on the back. Said, "Don't worry, mate."
It's always good to see the guys that are out hanging around and watching their fellow competitors as well. And that's one thing that, on the track we probably don't really see much of. But in the field events, they're very much into the camaraderie and friendly with each other.
So here's Nick Moroney attempting 2 metres. He has season's best of 206. But does have a PB of 225, so let's see if he can get over this. Nice clearance. Smile on his face.
I just saw him adjusting the laces in his shoes just after that last jump, and I think sometimes athletes have little things that they like to do. I don't know if he was doing it. I don't know why he was doing it, but I know I used to do my shoes up, undo them, do them up. I don't know, did you have any of those weird things, Mel?
I actually wasn't that superstitious because I was worried that, say if you had to bring something with you, I was worried I'd leave it at home.
Yeah.
And then mentally I'd freak out because I didn't have it.
Yeah.
So I sort of avoided it, but I'm sure I did as a kid. I believe I'm sure I did as a kid, but I hear my athletes. One today was talking about, I won't mention her name, her underwear. You wear special underwear, or you wear special socks, and that sort of thing. So they have these, or the big thing is where you actually put your shoes on, or which foot first.
Yeah.
But I say whatever works.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, whatever works for you. I think I had lucky undies when I was a little kid.
I love it.
So, yeah, I remember that. Take them everywhere.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What colour were they?
Oh, okay. I think they were black, but I used to race in boxer type looking shorts, so I never used to wear briefs or black pants. I was really I think Mum used to make my shorts as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, we were very country. We didn't you never race in crop tops until I was 18.
Oh.
But,
Do you know that Mossy and Robbo would have fun with that if they get hold of the mic right now?
Yeah, I hope they're not listening.
So now we're on 2:04, which Nick Moroney is about to attempt. Unfortunately, missed that one. We'll sit back and reassess. Takeoff looks good, but just, got his, what we call at my training group, gluteus maximus. So we're just about to head back down to the long jump.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. We're down here at the sand pit on the back straight, and conditions are pretty good. I tell you, the tailwind is working nicely. In fact, we've only had one illegal jump in terms of wind so far, with a positive 3.1. But just to bring you up to speed with how things are looking in this women's long jump competition, well, in the lead we have Jess Penny. She's knocked out a 6.33 opening jump, and in second place at the moment, 5.97, Karina Minko. Then it's back to Na Anang with a 5.75 and Sophie Stanwell with a 5.64. Now, we've got a couple of our para-athletes in this competition as well who have done very, very well at the IPC World Champs, and one winning a gold medal at the Com Games in Glasgow. Sarah Walsh, has just had her second jump of first round 4.79. Jodie Elkington on the runway here now, and she opened up with a 4-metre jump, and we'll see her there go out with her second jump. So that's pretty much where things are up to. We're into only the opening stages of the long jump here on the back straight. We'll keep you posted. The Olympic qualifier here is 6 metres 70. No Stratton tonight, no Jench, but let's see what Jess Penny, Karina Minko and Na Anang, we'll see how close they can get to that all-important mark.
Thanks very much, Robbo. We're coming back to the high jump where you see Nick Moroney, unfortunately, didn't clear that jump, but you talked about Jodie Elkington, who's actually coached by Nicole Boegman-Stewart, and the meet record is held by her coach, Nicole Boegman, which was in 1996, which is 6.76. So a great little performance down there as well with Jessica Penny. And there, unfortunately missed by Tom Brennan from Western Australia. He's 25 years old. Has a PB of 2.17, but has a season's best of 2.09. So they're just jumping now 2.04, so we'll be hoping to be able to clear that on the next attempt. And there we can see in the background the women's discus. Been looking forward to this event tonight, Benita. We've got one of our best, Danny Samuels, competing in it, and she's unfortunately had a bit of a niggly injury, but it'll be great to see her compete here tonight in a home track.
I can't wait to see Denny Samuels compete, and I haven't watched her throw for quite some time, especially on TV. I've seen her throw a lot, but not live here in person. So I can't wait to see her throw. And she's a real big time competitor. She's good in all the major championships and can really put it out there when it counts. And that's what you want. I mean, it's good to have really long throws, but certainly, you want to be able to compete at the World Championships, Olympics, Commonwealth Games and things like that.
Yeah, and now we're just introducing the field. But just Samantha Peace, who's 17 years old from New South Wales. Kim Mulhall, who has thrown a season's best of 53.10, but actually has a PB of 57.24. As we can see there, Kirsty Williams, who's in the number 7. There's Taryn, 22 years old, an enormous talent. Has actually done a PB this season, so we know that she's in shape. She's thrown 58.91. Now, we've got to remember the Olympic qualifiers, 61 metres, but there she is, Denny Samuels, world champion in 2009, one of the youngest ever, which was extraordinary.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And over in Berlin, I wasn't there, but I was training in London and I remember watching it on TV, and fantastic. And I just got goosebumps seeing her win that.
Yes, and it was interesting. I remember coming into 2010, and that was the Delhi Commonwealth Games, and she did decide not to compete there because, there was concerns of people's well-being, and, can understand the choice. But I remember an article just saying, I think the pressure of winning a world championship that young, but, over the last couple of years, she's had a couple of injuries, but last year she threw incredibly well. She came 6th at the 2015 World Championships, which was extraordinary. And, so she's a real talent, and we're so lucky to have her in sport.
She's fantastic, and she's won the last Commonwealth Games in 2014, and, can't wait to see her compete.
So we're going to head back down to Mossy for an update.
Yes, well, the bar at the moment is set at 2:08. So what that indicates to us is the big guns of this competition, they're going to come into play. So right now, we're going to see Nick Boyich, who was coming in at 2:04, but he made a late decision to go to 2:08. Of course, the athletes can do that. Joel Baden, who's not too far away, as well as Navraj Singh Randhawa. So it's going to be interesting to see how well the guys go. There's a little bit of looking at each other, walking around. It's fantastic stuff down here at the high jump at the moment. So we're going to see some big jumps tonight. And as we see Thomas Brennan, who's already cleared at 2:04, he's first up. Back up to you, Mel and Benita.
Thanks so much, Mossy. Great update. We've got a lot going on. We've got the men's high jump, we've got the women's discus, and we've got the women's long jump. I tell you what, there's never a dull moment, is there, in track and field?
No, we're going from one to the other. It's fantastic.
Unfortunately, a miss there. 2:08. It was a choice of the majority of the field trying to come in. And there's the women's discus in the background.
And just what you're talking about before, Mel, with Denny not, in 2010 not competing so much. And it is really hard if you win a major championship when you're young. And I found that after I won the World Cross Country title, it was very hard for me to compete very well the next year. And I think sometimes these big stars, they just got to take a year to just relax and train through it. And she's come back so strong, and I just can't wait to see her going into the Olympics, competing tonight and at Nationals, and then on to Rio. She's fantastic.
Yeah, so how did you feel then? Did you just find there was just too much pressure, did you?
Yeah, I think you just put a little bit too much pressure on yourself. I'd like to talk to her about it as well. I haven't talked to Denny much about that, but she's certainly overcome it, and can't wait to see her throw.
And there's the athlete information on Denny, coached by Dennis Knowles for so long now. I love hearing about those relationships that you have between athlete and coach. She's She's moved up to Queensland, but still coached by Dennis, which is great. In actual fact, we're on holidays up in the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Turn up to the track, and there, all of a sudden, there's Denny training. And then about 15 minutes later, Sally Pearson was training. Do you know how excited my daughter Gabriella was? But, you know, this is a thing, you know, just being, I mean, not only great athletes, but they're just fantastic people, and that's the sort of role models you want, and we've got that in track and field.
Oh, yeah, it's lovely. And they just talk to everyone. And it doesn't matter, you know, who they are. They're always willing to talk and have a chat. And, yeah, Danny's fantastic. I've seen her Range Rover parked over in I work for Queensland Athletics over at the office there, and she's come over to QAS a bit. But she's, yeah, I think they're going through all their warm-up throws now. But, yeah, can't wait to see her throw. I'm not sure if she gets it out there on the first one, but she'll definitely be making those officials walk a bit further back than they are now.
And here's Kim Mulhall. They have so much speed, don't they, in that circle?
Yeah.
There's actually been a couple of trips where I've had 20-metre sprint races with some throwers.
Yeah, okay.
And they beat me.
Yeah, they've got to be powerful, don't they?
It's just that explosive speed that they have.
Yeah, I don't know too much about explosive speed.
Well, come on, you must have done. I mean, your speed work, what sort of speed work did you used to do? You know, what was the shortest you ran?
Oh, we used to do short hills, 30-second
Yep.
hills, but that was probably about it.
Yeah, that's like a marathon to me.
Yeah.
No, they, it's also power-based these days. And, you know, a lot of the throwers also say that they know as the disc is coming out of their hand exactly how it's going to happen.
Yeah, and we see here Kirsty Williams is throwing, and she goes away as she's a fantastic athlete, but also looks after some of our kids on our all schools team last year that we took to Melbourne. She's just a great person, but a great role model for the kids as well. So I'm pumped to see her throwing here tonight.
And you talk about that. It's wonderful how, you know, a lot of athletes come back and put into sport. You as well. You're at Queensland Athletics there. What are you doing there?
So I manage their recreational running program.
That's fitting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a new thing for Queensland Athletics, and New South Wales Athletics have one headed by Scotty Westcott, who's, you know, obviously an ex-athlete and possibly might be on the cards for Rio. So, I love working with athletics, and I've never worked for an athletics before within Australia, so it's a really good job for me.
And there's Taryn in the best shape of her life. 22 years old. I think she's 22. Danny Samuels is 27. Still, even at 27 for a thrower, it's a great age, isn't it? You know, people talk about, you know, sprinters and throwers. When do you peak? Well, when you're in a power event like this, you would only assume that it just takes time to be able to. And, you know, the learning process as well of perfecting that technique, that perfect technique you need.
Yeah, I think it just takes time and having a lot of patience and working with your coach for a long time. And I think someone like Danny Samuels, like, she's worked with the same coach. Here she is now into the circle. And, you know, your coach gets to see you when you're young and progress you through the years. Loving that pink.
It looks great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's perfect, especially for commentators, because you know exactly who's walking into the circle. Oh, it's just that speed.
Wow.
Now, that looked big. So we've got to think the Olympic qualifier is 61 metres. Of course, Danny's done at 67.99, which is her PB, but this season alone, it's 66.41.
Yeah, it looked like it was well over that Olympic qualifier mark, but have a look here. Yeah, she moves so fast through that circle.
There it is, 62.19. So that's a good first throw.
Oh, yeah, I think she looked very fluent. She probably has little things she wants to perfect for the next throw. She's probably already thinking in her mind, what can I do for the next one? And and how do I get better? But straight up, Olympic qualifier, it's not too bad.
I know, imagine that. Yeah. Oh, just doing my first one. I've done a 62.19. That'd be her focus now, of course. Already well and truly having the Olympic qualifier. It'd be all preparation. I mean, a lot of these athletes moving into Rio, would sit there and they set their little goals of what they want to achieve and within the domestic season. Of course, the rest of the world, we talked about the World Indoor Championships this morning. No one's, the rest of the world generally, other than people within our hemisphere, of course, but, they're not throwing outdoors. So to be able to do that's great. So there's another good throw by Christy Baker. I'm just looking at her PB. It's 56.79. Oh, it looks about probably just over 51.52. I apologise. I shouldn't make judgment on these sort of things because we have these little competitions. Yeah. And I'm always the one that's wrong. So when I'm trying to guess it.
We just see Paige Farrant walking out now for her throw from New South Wales, just 16 years of age. So she
So there's a big throw for Paige. Fourth at the National Juniors now. We're going to go straight back to Robbo at the long jump to see what's happening there.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mel. It's a feast of field activities down here, and at the women's long jump, well, we're getting into the halfway point of this competition, and our leader remains Jess Penny from the ACT with her opening a 6.33 metre jump. She followed that up with a 6.27 in the second round. In second place, we have Na Anang. She's cracked it into the sixes. 6.03, we know she'd go much bigger than that. And third at the moment, Karina Minko, 5.97. Quick shout out as well for Sarah Walsh, one of our para athletes. Well, last week in Perth, she set a new Oceania and Australian record for her age. And she was fourth at the IPC World Champs in Doha late last year. She's already jumped to 4.79, and her own record is only a little bit more than that. So we're going to see how close she can go to breaking that Oceania Australian record once again. It's only been in action for a week or so we'll keep you posted with how Sarah's going. But for the time being, it's Jess Penny with a lead of 6.33 in the women's long jump.
Thanks very much, Robbo. Well, it's all happening over there. Wouldn't it be wonderful if Sarah Walsh end up getting that record? It's great how our Paralympic athletes are also a part of the Sydney Track Classic. I know that they really enjoy it. Here we are for our next discus thrower, lining up. Just didn't probably come out the way that she would like. Now Kim Mulhall. Well, that was over 50. Here he is in a turn. They look, don't they? And they just can tell.
I see here that Kim's been to the World University Games and come ninth, and I think that's a really good stepping stone as the World Juniors as well to bigger and better things, and certainly that experience will help her going on to making senior teams, and I like that about athletics, how there are stepping stones. As we see Kirsty Williams here back into the circle for her second throw, but I like those kind of competitions, and I like competing at them. See Kirsty, see if she can throw better here for the second throw. I think it's just over 50. We'll wait and see what distance she has there. This discus throw field looks to be quite a big field as well, so as compared to the men's high jumps, that might take a little while. But I love watching these girls throw, and can't say I know too much about discus, but certainly I think you've got to think a lot and really getting the best out of yourself in each and every throw. It's just so important.
It's Taryn preparing.
I see here that Taryn has won the state titles a few weeks ago as well, and Queensland has some really hot weather for throwers, so I'm sure she loves that, and that might be a reason why Denny has moved to Queensland as well.
Well, there's nothing quite like competition, and that's what we'll be seeing here over the weekend. Just measuring that throw. All those young athletes at home, if they're watching, look at the technique through the circle. Taryn puts on the pants to make sure that she can keep warm.
Yeah.
So there's a 55-34.
So quite a few metres off her season's best, but yeah, she's still got another throw to go, and we've got Denny Samuels in the circle now, another Queensland resident. Looks quite similar to her last throw. We'll just wait and see what this gets measured at.
Now, you know you can't claim her now that she's a resident. She's in New South Wales.
Yeah, that's why I said resident, because she's still got New South Wales behind her name. Yeah.
Oh, don't you love the interstate rivalry?
Yeah, we'll be claiming her soon.
Just give it time. Just waiting for that throw from Denny. We've got to wait to find out. We've got to wait. That little board that you see on your screen, we've got to wait for it to turn around. There we are, 62.07. Now, we're talking earlier, we had there on our left screen, number 6 is a little athlete. So that's why we actually don't know her name. So we're going to find that out hopefully by the end of the competition. But they, competed at state little A's, and here they've got an opportunity to go against Denny Samuel. So the long jump's still in action, so we're going back to Mossy.
Yes, well, actually down here at the high jump, and I can tell you Thomas Brennan from WA, well, he missed at 2:15, so he's actually out of the competition. We've still got Nick Boych, Navraj Randhawa, and Joel Baden as well. So we talked about a bit of interstate rivalry. Well, it's Malaysia versus Victoria versus Queensland. Nick Boych has been on fire. Just a team, seems like he's leaping over tall buildings here over that stand in the eastern part of the stadium. But at the moment, yeah, Nick Boych just missed at 2:18. Here's Navraj Singh. Oh, easy does it at 2:18. Navraj Singh fires a little blow across the Queenslanders' door there. So now could be a costly miss there for Nick Boych. And back up to you guys.
Thanks very much, Mossy. Gee, it must have looked impressive down there. You sit there and you have a look how high it is, but when you're actually looking up to 2:18, it's impressive. There's Raj heading back to Alex Stewart. You'll see a little bit. So talking to his coach. As I said, he's been coaching with Brandon Stark and getting a little bit of information. Now back to the discus.
And we've got Paige Farrant here just having a great second round throw. We'll see what it is here. She's a youngster, 16-year-old from New South Wales, 4th at the National Junior Championships in Perth a few weeks ago. So she's coming back. She's 2nd at New South Wales Champs as well. It's just great competition for her tonight to be in this field with athletes such as Denny Samuels.
Yeah, we're talking about the teenagers. Samantha Peace as well, sitting there preparing. So Samantha's just about to go into the circle, but we're going to get an update and see how the long jump's going with Robbo.
Well, thanks very much, Mel. Yeah, I'm going to get over to the long jump shortly. I couldn't get past the discus, though, and I've been hooked in by your descriptions of it up there upstairs, and I had to come and see it for myself. Danny Samuels, 62.07, and I noted that was very close to almost identical throw of her first round. Look, she's achieved an Olympic qualifier on her first 2 throws. Something I put to Danny last season was whether she could do a clean sweep. 6 out of 6 throws, all over the qualifying mark. Unfortunately, she had a pesky foul or 2, ruining that just about each time. So hopefully tonight we might see a clean sweep. But in second place, holding that down 55.35, Taryn Golshuski, and in third place, Christy Baker, 51.66. And Sam Peace, we just saw with the last one there. Sorry, we're just checking that one there from Ray Anderson as well. Sam Peace with a foul in that last one there. So Ray Anderson fouling her first couple. And how good's that? You're hearing it from the official. 2.505 there for Ray Anderson, who, quick fact, went to the Doha IPC World Champs, and she was completing her HSC while she was over there. Sat some exams, and I believe went pretty well. So there you go, mixing athletics with your education. I'm going to head over to the long jump and give you an update very shortly. Back up to you guys.
Oh, Robbo, you're amazing. I think you've missed your calling. Going from the long jump to the discus, definitely some serious sprinting going on there. If only our cameras could capture it. But thank you for that update. We've now found out it's Ray Anderson who's number 6. We didn't really have it up here on our information, so thank goodness we've got the boys out there to help us.
And we just saw that third round throw from Kim Mulhall from Victoria. So we'll just get that measured now and see how far she's through there. 7th at the National Championships last year. So she's been throwing for quite a while and certainly been top 8 up there.
There's Christy Williams going back into the circle.
Kirsty won the National Junior Championships in Perth, so coming off a great win and now competing against these open competitors. Lives down on the Gold Coast in Queensland, and certainly we have some good throwing coaches down there. Greenie looks after her, and he was also one of our coaches for the National Junior Championships in Perth for our Queensland team. So we do 48.16 was her third round throw.
So not as good as her other throws. Kirsty, but, you know, she threw a 55.34 earlier on in the competition. And there's a big one from Taryn, I think, looking over the top. Here she is. Well, I don't obviously know a lot about discus technique, but it looked pretty nice to me.
Yeah, she threw really well, and I'd like to see what that is going to come out at as well. I see Taryn came second at the National Championships last year, so 54.32 for her in that throw just there. That was great.
Here's Danny Samuels.
Queensland resident.
I love it.
But New South Wales through and through.
That one fell a little bit flat. She won't be as happy with that.
No, just a bit under 60 there. And it was interesting hearing Robbo say that, her first 2 throws were, I think, within centimetres of each other. Just so consistent there, and she seems to always landed in a similar spot as well. But yeah, that one's not quite as good.
Well, it's such a big deal, isn't it, for throwers, jumpers, sprinters, all of us really. to have that consistency. You know, if you know that you can continue to deliver on those sort of distances, then that's when the big one's going to come out.
Yeah, and she's definitely throwing some big ones in her time, in her young time. 27. Yeah, I wish I was 27 again.
Well, you're talking. I wish I was 27 again. Oh, it's only a number.
Yeah, that's
they
right.
say, Benisha. It's only a number. And we're going down to the very talented Robbo, who's now head back to the long jump to give us an update.
Too kind. I'll have to keep paying you. But look, Jess Penny, she has increased her lead in the fourth round. She jumped to 6:34 with a 1.9 tailwind. So good to see. We saw some very nice legal tailwinds over in Perth last weekend for a national record, and the girls are warming up here. Let's just hope they haven't left it too late to pull that monster jump out. But Penny in the lead, 6:34. Na Anang has also extended her longest jump, 6:14 for her now, and holding down that third place is the 5:97 jump by Karina Minko in the first round. So that's 4 rounds completed, 2 to go, and at the moment it is Jess Penny from the ACT. We'll keep you updated, guys.
Thanks very much, Robbo. Probably not the perfect conditions for jumpers, not like what we saw at the Perth Track Classic when we saw that wonderful jump by Brooke Stratton. And the most perfect wind, 2 metres.
Yeah.
You know, and to think that she came into the season, and this is just off the top of my head, but you know, end up jumping, was it 6:75 coming into the season, and then nailing a 7:05 is truly extraordinary. And I'm just so excited to see her and Chelsea at the World Indoor Championships, just to see what they can do.
I love seeing them over there, and just that rivalry as well. And we were talking about rivalry earlier today, just, you know, having some competitive people within Australia that are pushing each other to their absolute limits. And it's great that they're both over in Portland and competing at the World Indoors. And yeah, she's just come ahead in leaps and bounds. And that night in Perth, it was, yeah, you know, it was a little bit windy, but just to have that legal jump was something. I had goosebumps, and I knew Bronwyn Thompson as well, just a fantastic jumper, and she was at AIS when I was there, and yeah, to have someone overpass that mark and considerable amount as well is just, yeah.
Very special. And here's Ray Anderson, one of our para athletes. Not from the look of it. She doesn't look very happy with that one. 19 years old from New South Wales. Okay, we're just about to go back to Mossy to give us an update on the high jump.
Yeah, it's a perfect time to come across to me there, girls. Navraj Singh just went over the bar at 2:21 on his second attempt. All competitors left in the competition, Queensland's Nick Boych and Victoria's Joel Baden, had missed at 2:21, and so effectively Randhawa, he's in the box seat now. He hasn't missed before this height. Joel Baden missed out at 2:08. Interestingly, with Joel Baden, we've just had about a 10-minute break because he had to get a bit of medical attention. He had a scab on his left knee, and when he went over the bar, landed on the mat and actually clipped it, and there was a lot of blood streaming down, which caused a bit of humour. And it was very, very interesting in the boys for a while. It gave the other athletes a bit of an opportunity to have a chat to their coaches. As Joel Baden over the bar now. No, he grabs it with his hand, so that's a second miss for Joel Baden. He's a little bit out of sorts. So Navraj Singh at the moment, the only one over the bar, over at 2:21. Nick Boych on the runway. He's next, about to launch himself over, hopefully, to give himself an opportunity to get up towards that 2:29 Olympic game qualifier. Back to you guys.
Oh, thanks very much, Mossy. Gosh, Joel Baden, we might have to bring in the blood bin after that. That's unfortunate, but Raj, he must be loving being out here training in Australia, especially when he's under one of our great coaches, Alex Stewart. Next to jump. Oh, here we are, back to the discus. Competition is getting to the latter end of it, so a lot of these throwers will, you know, wanting to
to get a last throw out. And how many times do you see it? How many times do you know, on that last throw, just being able to nail it?
Yeah, we'll see what Kirsty Williams can do here. But yeah, just seeing them now, that last throw just brings everything right into her head. And just when the competition's decided on the last throw, that's something that you just always want in the throws here, but probably not tonight.
Kirsty Williams has thrown 55-34. By the looks of that, not that far, not as far as. We've got the music starting now. Everyone's starting to fire up. The atmosphere begins, which makes it a lot nicer for our competitors. There's nothing quite like it, I must admit, running at night time. I do love it. Yeah, that last one by Kirsty was 49-18, so not one of her better throws. Well, here we are for the under-17s 100 metres. This is part of the State Little Athletics. Lane 1, Lauren Jacobs. Lane 2, Maya Leverett. Lane 3, my athlete, Christy Edwards. Lane 4, Katie Devitt. Lane 5, Rebecca Brett. Lane 6, Rowena Cracker. Lane 8, Emma Kennedy. And lane 9, Isabella. That's Rosie Craker, by the way. So that was Katie Devitt. She ran 12:31 with a 1.8 headwind. Great run by Katie Devitt. Second was Christy Edwards from Manly Warringah. You know, it's such a great opportunity for these girls to run part of this. They've come back from last weekend at the under 20 national championships. It's been a really big weekend for them. I know that Christy, the athlete there with number 400, I'm just so unbelievably proud of her. She got a silver medal last weekend, and there's been these great competitions between these girls, as well as with Katie Devitt. That was a great run by Katie. There was a moment there I thought Christy was maybe going to take her over, but Katie held her form, and what a wonderful run, and what a great opportunity for them to be a part of today.
Oh, it's fantastic watching that race. And what kind of satisfaction do you get, Mel, out of being a coach to when you're an athlete? Is it? Yeah, how do you?
It is probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. And it's incredible from the highs and lows you can achieve. But you know what I love is when you see they put in all this hard work, the commitment that they do, and then to come out and achieve great things. It's so rewarding, absolutely rewarding. So back to the discus. Danny Samuels, as you can see, in a bright pink. Ooh, looks like a better throw, much better throw. You can usually tell by their face. Just having a look. Wondering how far that's gone.
Yeah, I wonder how good you get at predicting your own throws, distance-wise, as a thrower. We'll just wait for the board to turn around and see how far that was.
We've got the men's under 17 100 metres coming up soon. Their races were run at about 2 o'clock this afternoon, so they've been hanging around in preparation.
So Denny's throwing a 63.45 on a fourth round throw.
So it's like over a metre further than her furthest so far. So that's fantastic.
Well, that's what you want, isn't it? You want to keep on improving each time.
I think like in distance running, you want to be the fastest in the last lap, and in throwing, you want to get the furthest in your last throw. So same kind of theory, I think.
So we're just getting prepared. Another opportunity for our young athletes. The men's under 17 100 metres.
Do you know any of these guys personally?
I actually don't with this group, to be honest. In the women's, yes, and in a couple of the females in the under 15. But there we got in lane 1, Stephen Harmon. Lane 2, Benjamin Denham. Lane 3, James Mizzy. Lane 4, Dominique Darko. Lane 5, Will Roberts. Lane 6, Nicholas Thompson. Lane 7, Alec Nugent. And lane 8, Liam McCann. So all preparation. We've actually had quite a few full starts today.
Yeah, I saw some false starts in the 60-metre heats at the World Indoors this morning.
Oh,
and they were
I know.
straight out, yeah.
Talking about the World Indoor Heats, Safa Powell this morning ran an extraordinary 60 metres, which shocked everybody.
Yeah. It was crazy. I love watching it, but can't imagine doing it.
Here's the preparation for our, we can say men's, under 17.
Yeah, they all grow at different times when they're this age. Some look like little men, others look like boys still.
Yes, that's right. And it is amazing in sport in general how you see them all grow and develop at different stages. How nice is that? Shaking hands, all in preparation. Here they're being introduced to the crowd. A lot of them may not be used to that. There's Benjamin. James, head down, a little bit of a wave. Dominic. Will Roberts looks very excited.
Top knot he's got.
Yes, we call it the man bun.
And lane 8 from Glenbrook, Liam McCann. These are your competitors in the boys under 17 100 metres final.
The anticipation, the visualisation. Isn't it funny how you watch them just to see how they all prepare?
So different as well.
They're at their blocks.
So out quickest, inside James Mixie, now moving to his work, Dominic Darko, Will Roberts there as well, flashing home, there's Roberts on the outside. He'll win. Celebrate for the finger.
Well, what a great run by Will Roberts. He didn't panic because Dominic Darko, he'd got out at a great start, but you know, that's the really important thing. It's them coming over the top of those last 50 metres just to make sure they maintain their form. And, you know, when Dominic got out, you thought, you know, he can see here, Dominic's just so explosive. But then as Will's coming up now with his head, he's full flight and just looking the power that they're getting off the ground. And this is where it's so important as a sprinter not to panic and to make sure that you hold your form through the line. And Will Roberts has done that beautifully.
It was a close one. When do you reckon you sort of had it in the bag? You looked confident 15 out. You were really strong to the line?
Probably when I was about 25 out, I knew I had it. yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race. It was nice and close. We obviously had to go up to the box to see who was the actual one, just to confirm it, but you definitely confirmed the winner. Now, Little Athletics, state final, getting to do it at the Sydney Track Classic, it's a little bit of a special thing for you?
Oh, definitely, man. I like running in front of a crowd. It boosts my confidence, so it makes me run better.
We're all good with that. Now, Little Athletics do a fantastic job. I'm a former Riverston Little Athletics athlete, so shout out to Riverston Athletics. Now, tell us a little bit about your club and where you guys are from.
Canterbury. I run for Canterbury. That's in like the inner west. A little small club. Yeah, I can't say much more.
Small club producing a brilliant athlete, so well done with that, Will. Well done.
Some great interview by Ben Offerins, a former athlete. It's great to see, actually, throughout this whole Australian Athletics Tour, it's been wonderful to see the involvement. All ex-athletes still loving the sport.
Yeah, I love catching up with people as well, and seeing these ex-athletes, because the time just goes by so fast and you just lose the years. But it's been fantastic to see people like Tamsin Lewis as well, and she's over in Brisbane with that meet.
Yeah, and there's some results. Will Roberts, 11 seconds. Darko, 11.08. James Mizzi, 11.13. Alec Nugent, 11.22. Liam McCann, 11.34. Nicholas Thompson, 11.45. Benjamin Denham, 11.48. And Steve Harriman, 11.63. And also had a win, a bit of a headwind with minus 0.09, so that's looking interesting for later tonight. We would really love it, especially when we're talking about the women's 100 metre with Melissa Breen. Yeah. It'd be wonderful to be able to, have a decent win, because we talked about earlier how to have a qualifier going into the Australian Championships is so important.
I'd love, is it a bit swirly here, the wind?
Look, it can be. It can be really swirly. So we're heading back down to the field. We've got Robbo waiting to give us some really important information.
Thank you very much, Mel. Yeah, I've got the winners down here of the Little Athletics Under-17s. 100 metres. This is an event that's been going since yesterday and it continues through to tomorrow. And I've got Katie Devitt, who won the girls Under-17s Little Athletics New South Wales race in a 12.31. Katie, what does it mean to you to be representing your club, Cherrybrook Little A's, here as part of the Sydney Track Classic?
It was a phenomenal experience and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good.
Well done. And you got some more races tomorrow, I'm imagining, probably a 200?
Yep, 200 tomorrow. Pumped for that.
All right, well, good luck with that one as well. Now, Will Roberts, I caught up with you only earlier this year at the Botany Bay Gift, which you won there, so we're making a habit of this. You're from Petersham. You run for the Canterbury Little A's. Mate, 11 seconds there, but 10.95 in the heat earlier today. You were just telling me off air. You're running pretty well. How was the experience for you tonight?
Oh, the experience is great. Just to get a PB of 10.95, first time I've ever run under 11 seconds. Ecstatic. I can't explain how I feel. It's just great.
Well done, mate. We better get out of the way because we've got another race coming here. That's our winners of the Little Athletics New South Wales Under-17s. 100 metres. Good luck tomorrow, guys. Will, you racing again tomorrow?
Yes, I am, in the 200 metre.
All right, there you go. Look out for these guys, stars of the future, and I'll send it back up to you guys.
Thanks, Robbo. Don't you love the smile on their face? That is just fantastic. We're heading back to the discus. Paige Farron getting prepared to go in for second last throw. Now, I would say, what would you say about their 44?
Yeah, I think about 44. I think that's a lot further than one of her throws I've written down here. So we'll see.
That's what you want.
Might be her best throw of the night.
Well, she seems sort of happy.
So we've got 43.25 for Paige there. So I think that's a lot further than what she's thrown tonight. Fantastic. She's so young as well. She's just getting so much experience.
Here's Kirsty Williams. Sends it out. Now, Kirsty's thrown a 55.34. Looks a little bit short. Just waiting for a result on that last throw by Kirsty. .46.86. So we're into the 6th round of the discus. Here's Christy Baker. She knew, you could hear, couldn't you? Could you hear straight away that she wasn't particularly happy with that one? I mean, we've discussed it throughout this whole competition about, you know, as soon as the disc comes out of the hand.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be terribly happy with that. She's thrown just over 50 metres here tonight.
Well, the men's high jump has just finished, and we're going to head down to Mossy to tell us all about what happened in the end.
Thanks very much, Mel. And I can tell you it is done and dusted. And it's Malaysia from Queensland, then Victoria. It was the blood-ridden Joel Baden. He went out at 2:15. Nick Boyich, well, he continues to climb higher and higher with every jump that he goes each time this season. He missed it, got out at 2:18. And Navraj Singh, grippingly close to clearing at 2:25, but he didn't make that, so he ended out at 2:21. So here at the high jump, Navraj Randawa from Malaysia taking the victory, and back up to you guys.
Thank you so much, Mossy. That was quite a competition. Probably not quite the jumps that they expected, but I mean, that's the events, isn't it? Some nights it all happens, and other nights it probably just not as much as they would like. So
I think a key is to jump as well as they can on the nights that it's not happening. Obviously, you have those big nights, but those champions, they can still produce pretty good jumps. So great to watch it.
Oh, it's wonderful to watch, and you know, just to see their ability. We're talking about ability. Here we have Taryn coming in for her last and final throw. No. Unfortunately, not probably the finish that she'd want.
No. Oh, we're just going to cross over now to Robbo at the long jump.
Yeah, thanks very much, Benita. Well, the women's long jump is all done and dusted, and I can tell you they're the winner, holding on from the ACT, Jessica Penny, with her 6:34 getting the win there. In second place was Na Anang with a 6:14. In third, Karina Minko with a 5:97. And just to also fill you in on the para-athletes in the women's long jump as well, Sarah Walsh finished with that 4:79, not far off her own record from last week in Perth, and Jodie Elkington with a 4:11 there as well. And that was pretty much how it rounded out. Alicia Burnett, 5:71. She managed to get the win over there in Perth last week in the high jump, and she's a heptathlete looking to try and book her place for Poland in the World Under-20s Championships later this year in the heptathlon as well. So that's about it from the women's long jump, and we're about to really heat things up down here on the track and in the field. I'm going to send it back up to you guys.
Thanks so much, Robbo. Well, we just saw the last throw of Danny Samuels. Just waiting to see actually how far it is. We're going to go to Mossy very soon. He'll be able to give us a little bit more of an update on final throws, but just waiting.
Yeah, I can see Mossy looking at the officials' book here over at the discus, just finding out what Denny threw then. So I think he's all over it.
Yeah, 62.70. It looks like that Denny has thrown on her final throw. I mean, I think she'd be reasonably happy with tonight, the consistency at least.
I think so, yeah.
You know, mind you, she'll have her own expectations on what she wants to do.
She's had 4 very good ones that we've seen, and I think she'd be happy with that consistency.
Where you can see Ben Offren's there having a chat. I wonder if we can listen to the interview.
Yeah.
Each throw was a bit different, and if I could put them all together, I would have had one good throw. So, not the happiest, but I'm really happy with my season so far. And nationals are in 2 weeks' time, so tick the boxes and get automatically selected for Rio, and off we go to Europe.
Exactly, it has been a fantastic season. Now you've launched a couple of big ones out there. This is probably one of your best domestics leading into probably one of Europeans. So obviously, if we've thrown well in the Aussie season, we're looking pretty good for the European.
Yeah, I was extremely happy with my 66.5 that I opened up with this season. It was further than I threw all of last season, so I was stoked with that, and to back up 2 days later with 64.5 was pretty good. So, if my lowest kind of baseline can be 63, then, hopefully that's an automatic throw into the final for Rio, but, always hoping to build from here and hoping to be in personal best shape come Rio. So, I have a couple of Diamond Leagues to help me prepare for that. I'm just really excited for this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic year, and I'm looking forward to seeing you throw in Rio. It's going to be amazing. Now, a little bit aside to that, what are you looking forward to most about Rio, apart from the competing side of things?
I think it'd just be a fantastic place to go to. Just experiencing the culture. I've never been to South America at all. So, to go to Brazil will be amazing. Hopefully get to enjoy that side of it after we've competed. Our holding camp's in Miami before it, so we won't get to do too much before we get there, but I think it'll just be amazing. Like the opening ceremony, closing ceremony, the people, the culture, the beach, everything will be amazing.
And that's the thing, as an athlete you get to experience many amazing different things. You go to so many different places. What's probably the number one in your list so far?
Oh, that's really hard.
So here we are still at the Sydney Track Classic. We've got some fantastic events coming up, including the men's 1500, Ella Nelson the 200. We'll be back after this break.
want that personal best, that win, that medal.
We want that feeling to share the moment.
It's like nothing else, that achievement of going faster, higher and further than ever before.
The joy as you surprise your friends, your family and yourself.
The pride in overcoming all obstacles and reaching your goal.
And you know you deserve it too.
You were there at every session doing the hard slog.
You pushed yourself when you were tired, when you hurt, and when you thought you couldn't go on.
You didn't know if it was worth all the sacrifice.
You didn't let rain stop you, and you wouldn't let injury keep you down.
Along the way, we had some successes and some failures.
You experienced all the highs and all the lows.
But you refused to let anything get between you and your goals.
All you ever asked was a fair go, a level playing field.
That way, the rest is up to you.
And you did it. You did it.
You don't need drugs to win. You don't need to cheat. You can do it on your own. Make the right decisions for you.
For all of us competing side by side.
And now you are a better you, both physically and mentally.
Welcome back to the Sydney Track Classic. We've just finished the discus competition, and luckily we've got Mossy down there with our fabulous discus thrower, Danny Samuels.
That's exactly right here, Mel. Fabulous discus thrower Danny Samuels as the sun is setting here, but the lights are shining bright on the darling of the discus. 63.25 today. You started with a couple of 62s. I mean, that's well over the Olympic qualifier at 61. How are they coming out?
Not amazingly today. It did take a while to kind of get my rhythm together, and each throw was very different, so I was just trying to put one full throw together. I went for it on my last one, but yeah, I think I hooked it left a little bit. So, you know, it's kind of a good learning curve. It's still, you know, in kind of a heavy strength phase at this point in time. So, you know, hopefully come Nationals we'll get some bigger throws out there.
A little bit of a swirling breeze at time coming out of the south here. Did that affect you today at all?
It's quite strong actually, and especially, you know, 10, 15 metres in the air, it's a lot stronger. Yeah, it's a bit of a right crosswind and then sometimes diagonal headwind. So yeah, it wasn't the best conditions, but you know, I've got to set a high standard for myself, so I think I still should have thrown a bit further.
Now, Danny, this is the first time that we've seen you on the tour so far. Obviously, Nationals in a couple of weeks, but give us an idea of, you know, what your plans are leading to the Olympics.
So yeah, obviously do Nationals in 2 weeks' time back here in Sydney. Hopefully do Shanghai Diamond League in May, and then spend a bit of time back home at my home on the Gold Coast and prepare for the Olympics. Probably head over in the first week of July. We have the London Diamond League, but that's it as far as Diamond Leagues go. So we'll probably look to do a few small German comps, but they're usually really good quality competition, the German girls. So yeah, we'll look at that as preparation for the Olympics, and then yeah, head into camp.
Now, World Youth, World Junior, World Champion, Commonwealth Games gold. You've done it all except for one thing. Well, two things. Firstly, the national record. Do you think you're far away?
You know, I was really happy with my opener of 66.41 for this season. You know, I definitely think that I should have been able to produce something like that today. It's always in the back of my head, and like I said to you before, if, you know, I want to be in medal shape come Rio, so I will have to be in personal best shape, which would be the national record. So, you know, I kind of set at the beginning of last year that I wanted to get it kind of by or at Rio. So I know that's a pretty big thing to say, but, you know, if I could crack 68 anytime soon, I'd be absolutely stoked. So, you know, you never know what's going to happen, and, you know, just keep plugging away and doing my best.
Finally, the competition today. So you've got Kim Mulhall, Taryn Golszewski, who came second, Christy Baker as well. I mean, it's pretty good times here for women's discus in Australia.
Yeah, we've got some really good depth. You know, there's also Kirsty Williams, who just won the under-20 nationals with a 53. Yeah, and for fifth to be 51.5 is pretty good. So yeah, and like you said, Taryn Golszewski is throwing some pretty exciting distances. PB last week in Melbourne. So she's kind of pushing that 61 metre barrier, and it'll be fantastic if, you know, she could get that Olympic qualifier as well. So yeah, it's exciting for discus. You know, there's also 5 girls who qualified for World Juniors. When it comes down to really having to place on the day at trials, it's exciting. So it's great that there's depth. You know, it's great for female throwing. I think it has struggled in the past with stereotypes and that, and a lot of girls don't want to get into it because, you know, they think it's quite a negative reflection upon them. But, you know, you have to be strong and fit and powerful and athletic, and you have to be able to move. It's not just something that you do because you can't run, which is what a lot of people say. But, you know, we're pretty explosive in the gym, and yeah, so it's great when girls get into it.
Well, there you go. You may not want to admit it, but there's a fair reason why we've got so many young juniors in the women's discus, and that's because you are the champ for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Danny Samuels, and we'll throw this one back up to Mel and Benita.
Thank you so much, Mossy. Isn't she just divine? I mean, I think I'm going to go out now and try and start training for discus, but I'm sure, Benita, it's just a matter of time that she will get that national record. Now, we can see on our screen the next event is the men's pole vault. They're actually at the moment competing in it. It's at 5:05. Now, if people at home wanting any live results from tonight, please go to athletics.com.au and you can keep updated, you know, completely with all the events. Nice clearance. Can't actually see from here the name, but
no, Sydney Uni guy.
There, oh gosh, oh my gosh, that's Angus Armstrong. Angus Armstrong has been, incredible this year. He came 4th at the Perth Classic, 2nd at the National Juniors, and he's also competed at the University Games. So there's just so much talent in this event. It's been remarkable what we've seen. We've also got Joel Pocklington, 31 years old. He got 3rd at the Perth Track Classic. I mean, that's just to name 2. And then Curtis Marshall, who was actually the winner at the Perth Track Classic, but also won the under-20s National Juniors, and basically has booked his seat off to the under-20 World Championships in Poland. So there's just so much talent in this event that we've seen.
Yeah, and there's a lot of young guys in this event as well, and quite a few under 20, which is great for the sport and for those guys moving through. And then we've got a few in their 30s as well. And when we see here Olympic qualifying is 570, that's a fair height, but hopefully some of these guys can have a crack at that later on as the competition heats up.
And there's Mudith Jasakara from New South Wales, 19 years old, has a PB of 5 metres, got 2nd in Newcastle. I just love their preparation. It's all about the run-up. I've been getting a little lesson in how to prepare for the perfect jump. So there we have Max Michenko. He's from Victoria, 31 years old, has a PB of 520.
I always find it interesting after they jump that they go back on where their pole is for taking off and look at their coach and figure out where to take off from. Some of these pole vaulters look like gymnasts as well.
Well, talking about gymnasts, Joel Pocklington has a background in gymnastics. He was 3rd at the Perth Classic, 2nd at the Melbourne Challenge. Also, Commonwealth Games representative, and went to the 2009 University Games. A lot of it, we've been talking about wins. It's just so important to be able to have the right timing. Oh, be disappointed with that. He has a PB of 541 and a season's best of 530. Now, I've been chatting to Chris Clegg, who's based at Narrabeen, where all my little athletes train, and they are always absolutely mesmerised by how these vaulters attack.
Yeah.
And just to attempt to even think of a height of 5 metres.
Oh, it's crazy. And I see we've got next up here Flavien Basson from France. He must be out here training.
Basson, maybe.
Basson? Yeah, I don't know how I would pronounce that. His PB's 5:43, so he's enjoying being out here in Australia. Won Melbourne Grand Prix and first in the Vic Champs as well. And here he is here competing in the tights.
Now, we've got the two of us here. We've got a marathon runner, distance runner, and we've got a sprinter. and we're commentating on the pole vault. So I just want to throw it out there at home. We're going to do the best we can. And if anyone wants to join us up here and have a chat too about the pole vault, then please let us know. But look, one of the things, and I've been listening to Steve Kane and also Steve Hooker just over the weeks, which has been very educational on how the run-up is obviously important, and the takeoff once they plant the pole into the box. And usually then too you can judge whether or not you're going to clear the bar. But one of the things you do is you need to have aggression and intensity, because if you're going to attempt to clear that height, then you need to be very aggressive. So there we have Declan Carruthers from South Australia, 18 years old, came third in Perth at the National Juniors, second in the Perth Classic. It was actually a fantastic competition to watch. Did you get the opportunity to watch? Were you sitting in the stand? Because everyone was chatting.
Yeah, it was good. It was great competition, and just really enjoy it when it's right there in front of you as well, like the pole vaulters here right in front of the stadium. Great clearance at 5:05. Well, it's moving a little bit, but he's got over. And I see, Tatiana's here on our screen, and I've done a bit of coaching with Tatiana in Brisbane. Tatiana Grigorieva, one of our brilliant pole vaulters.
We remember at Sydney 2000, it was quite a magical night, wasn't it, with her, Kathy Freeman, as well as Jai Tarima. Women's 5K final. What's Tatiana up to? What is she?
She's coaching a lot now. She's got a few kids and living in Brisbane, and she loves life. She had an ice cream shop for a while.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. So but she's heavily involved in coaching and really enjoying it. And she still looks about the same age as she was when she competed in Sydney. She just doesn't age, Tatiana.
No, it's funny. Someone was talking about her the other day and just talked about what an amazing physique she had. So here we got Joel Pocklington again, who's coached by Mark Stewart. Now, Mark also coached Steve Hooker as well before he went to Victor Panov. But I actually found out about this rare club. Obviously, Joel's preparing beforehand at the back, waiting. But about this, it's called the Rare Air Group, where a bunch of pole vaulters, we're just going for the clearance. It's unfortunate by Jai Sekakara. That's Mudif. He's got a little bit of a shorter run up than we see from the others.
Yeah, he's right, and he's only ever cleared 5 metres, so this would be new territory for him.
So getting back to this Rare Air Group, there's 15 men and 20 women the other night, and actually Joel cleared 5:35. So sort of thing that must be a pretty big week, being in Perth, then competing in that, and then here again tonight. But I mean, he's not as tall as the other vaulters, but it's just his gymnastic ability that's amazing.
And I love watching gymnastics, and pole vault is the one event in track and field that reminds me a lot of gymnasts, especially guys that do the rings, and you've just got to have so much strength.
Oh, it's just on the way down. Now, when I was being educated, apparently, obviously when they look at he's not happy with that. I can understand it too. When they're looking at their coaches, we're seeing Joel running up here now. It's about where they take off from, and you can normally tell whether it's a good jump by where they land in the bags, but unfortunately That just wasn't a clearance for Joel.
I mean, we've had some great pole vault competitions in Queensland over the last month or so with Alana Boyd breaking the national record, and unfortunately she injured herself in her warm-up today at the World Indoors, but she's just come ahead in leaps and bounds, and I can't wait to see Alana over in Rio, given that she gets healthy.
Wasn't that just devastating?
Yeah.
Absolutely devastating, just in warm-up to be able to, you know, for that to happen, and in such great shape. And I know her mum and dad was over there. Here's Basson, 27 years old, obviously from France.
Not happy with that jump or how I pronounce his name.
I might be not pronouncing it properly. Just unfortunately hits it on his thighs on the way down.
So we're now going to go over to the men's 110 metre hurdles.
Now, one of the great initiatives from Athletics Australia, or here at the Sydney Track Classic, is actually to move the hurdles onto the back straight, which from a commentator's point of view might be a little bit hard to be able to see from here, but for the athletes it's just perfect, because if there's anything you come out of the performances is the fact that you want to be able to be able to get the times that you want. So here we are in lane 1, Kyle Cranston. Lane 2, Jack Conway. Lane 3, Ben Conbutt. Lane 4, Joshua Hawkins. Lane 5, James Woodgate. Lane 6, Matthew Dorset. And lane 7, Justin Molino. It's a great name to see there, Justin Molino, 3-time Australian champion. We haven't really seen a season's best from him. He has a PB of 13.55. But the one to watch is in lane 5, which is Joshua Hawkins. He's 22 years old. He's from New Zealand. He's run a 13.91 this season. First New Zealand champion and also the New Zealand record holder. It's amazing. It's about 13 metres to the first hurdle, and running that time, it's all about the start, isn't it? It's about getting out there as quickly as you can and hitting that first hurdle. And you just sort of think, 10 hurdles to be able to cover, is extraordinary.
I can't believe the height of them just doing one of them.
Well, it's just over a metre, so. Now, unfortunately, Nicholas Huff, who is battling injury, he was the gold medalist at the Youth Olympics. It is unfortunate coming to an Olympic year to be able to have the opportunity, to get that qualifier to compete. Now, it looks a bit challenging there. We've got between a high jump bar and a discus cage. But, it was interesting looking up at Joshua Hawkins from New Zealand. He was introduced to hurdles by coming to a meet when he was 12 years old. His dad accidentally said to him, "Now, son, why don't you choose 2 events?" And he chose long jump and 80-metre hurdles. And how lucky it is now, because he's actually the New Zealand record holder, which is quite extraordinary.
Wow.
It's getting a little bit cooler there. You could see that Ben Conbutt from Victoria is 27 years old, has a season's best of 14.21. He was actually first at the Perth Classic. It was an interesting race, though, because there was only 2 athletes. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it where there was 2 athletes in a race.
Yeah, it's not.
There's a lot of waiting around.
But it is good how athletics and we can be adaptable and give the athletes the best conditions to perform to their best. And if that means we've got to look through the discus cage, the athletes will be really loving the fact that we can do this at the Sydney Track Classic and just turn it around and make sure we give them the best chance to get those qualifiers.
I can tell you one person that's going to be very happy about it, and that's Melissa Breen, who we'll be seeing later on tonight, competing in the women's 100 metres. She'll be wanting to get, that Olympic qualifier. So we're just going to go to a short break, and then after that we'll be back for the men's 110 metre hurdles. So welcome back to the Sydney Track Classic. We're just about to run the men's 110 metre hurdles. You can see there the athletes are getting a little chilly, actually. It's got a bit cool here, hasn't it, Benita?
Yeah, it's cooling down. I'm getting a bit cool sitting here. I think the distance runners are going to be pumped for that, and the hurdle guys just got to keep themselves warm. We're ready for a big race here.
Yeah, it's such an explosive event. It's just, I don't want to jinx anyone, but it's fraught with danger, really, isn't it? You just sit there and think about, okay, I've got to get over 10 barriers. And it's so important, technically, to be able to deliver on each stride, and also the speed in between the hurdles. But where the impact can be made, it is off that last hurdle, which is about 14 metres. We're looking, we've got a couple of, one of the younger athletes, Matthew Dorset, who's in lane 7 over there. It's quite weird trying to look at back to front from this side of things, but we've got some technical difficulties apparently. So, and here we are. Look, what a wonderful opportunity for people to be part of athletics in Australia's Gala Dinner. It's on Sunday, the 3rd of April at Sydney Olympic Park. If anyone's interested, please come along. You can buy tickets now at athletics.com.au. We're going to have an array of athletes there. We're also going to obviously have the 2015 Athlete of the Year Awards, as well as the announcement of the Rio team. Now, can you remember that day when you got announced in the Rio team? It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, they're always special moments in your life, and I think a lot of the Olympic teams that I've been on, the announcement hasn't been at a dinner like this. So the athletes will be there, and it'll be a fantastic night. I'll be there. Are you going?
Yes, I'll be there as well.
We'll be there.
We'll be doing selections, and then we'll be heading straight back over. Now, it looks like now that the men's 110 metre hurdles is just about to start. Preparation. Joshua Hawkins. The men's 110 metre hurdles.
So Molino jumped well on the outside. The New Zealander Hawkins now leads. And on the inside, Cranston also going well. So Hawkins will lead here. Molino fighting back on the outside. It looks to be close over the line. They'll hit the line together.
Wow, what a great run by Joshua Hawkins. And I have to admit, I'm terribly impressed with Justin Molino. It came down to the last two hurdles, and boy, it came about the speed in between the hurdles really important. And, you know, as hard as it is actually to be watching it from the other side of the track, trying to look for a time. Unfortunately, with the new setup, we haven't got any time, but we're waiting for that. But, you know, well done to Justin Molino. He's 29 years old. As I said, 3-time Australian champion. But here we are with the Adidas replay. You can see that Hawkins is up quickly. Justin Molino, I just love how much he clears so brilliantly over the hurdles. This is Justin Molino's ahead now, but this is where Joshua Hawkins makes a really impact. And we know that when they come off this last hurdle, it's the amount of speed that you can get, and that's where he really brings it home. But well done to Joshua Hawkins. And we have an unofficial time of 14:04. Not sure of the win readings because we can't see, but and Justin Molino unofficially 14:16, which is a great run for him, you know, coming off the first race. And we're going to, you know, luckily enough, going to get an interview very soon, but it always feels very weird, doesn't it, being on the other side of the track?
It does, and yeah, that was a great race. And I see Justin, he's there from Sydney Uni, and our track commentator here, Dean Gleeson, tonight is also a Sydney Uni guy. So it's such a strong club and strong tradition, and can't wait to see what they say post-race. I think Jack Conway's up there as well from Queensland, and I think he might have been third once we get the results. And he's another one that coaches young athletes up in Queensland, and certainly it's great for them to be putting something back into the sport.
Yeah, it's great how the New Zealanders come over and be a part of the Australian Athletics Tour. As you said, Justin Molino from Sydney Uni. There's always such amazing support, and within the uni itself, there is always a lot of support. So, as we can see there, we've got Joshua Hawkins down with Robbo.
Live streaming playback video, so control you go.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'm down here with the man of the moment, Josh Hawkins. Now, Joshy, we turned the straight around for you tonight. Tried to give you a little bit of a tailwind, a positive 0.5. But how were the conditions, mate, and how was your race?
Yeah, I was really happy with the turnaround for the track to have the tailwind. I think all the boys benefited from it. And yeah, I thought my race went quite well. A few hurdles that I messed up with, but managed to come through with the win. I'm really happy with it.
Very good, mate. And we saw you over at New Zealand Champs getting the win over there. What to next for you? Still chasing a Kiwi A qualifier?
Yeah, yep. So you guys, Aussie Nationals is my next competition, and then yeah, hopefully I can get a Rio qualifier.
Very good. And finally, mate, what about the Twitter handle, Shay Shay Time? Can you expand on that at all?
Oh yeah, no, Shay Shay Time was a nickname that my friend gave me, and it just means little one. And I just added time just to put a little bit of a twist on it. So yeah, thanks for keeping me up to date with all the Twitter stuff and whatnot.
Well, great to have the Kiwis here today. Well done on getting the win tonight. We'll see you in a couple of weeks back on the blue track for the Aussie Nationals.
Awesome. Thank you.
There we go. Back up to you guys.
Yes, a great run, and the Olympic qualifiers, for all athletes, obviously New Zealand the same, and that's why they come over here and have an opportunity of being on our tour to be able to do it. But the next race, the one I'm really looking forward to, Benita, the women's 100-metre final. I know that Melissa Breen there in lane 5 will be very excited, but let's just go through it. We've got Larkin in 1, Everett in 2, Nanda in 3, Toya Whistle in 4, Melissa Breen in 5, Ashley Whittaker in 6, Christine Wern in 7, Eloise Graff in 8, and Stephanie Power in 9. Well, we've just seen the men's hurdles on the other side of the track. Oh, that's looking very funny, like Melissa Breen, isn't it? It looks like that we're having a New South Wales Professional League run. I think we've seen this a couple of times throughout the Australian Athletics Tour. Talking about professional runs, Benita.
Yeah.
We've got one next week at the Stawell Gift, which I'm really looking forward to. You ever been to the Stawell Gift before?
No. I've done one pro race in my life in Launceston,
yes.
But never to the Stawell Gift. I'd love to go to the Stawell Gift.
Yeah, you would love to. It's the
it's
most
yeah.
incredible experience. And we're talking about Melissa Breen, who is, going to run the women's 100 next. She's being a part of it, as well as Lauren Wells, who we'll see later on tonight in the 400-metre hurdles. But it's extraordinary. You can see with these bibs, for the people at home who don't know much about pro running, with the bibs, they are scheduled by how far your handicap caps is. And it also helps a lot too for the commentators to see the guy in red and the guy in blue to be able to do it too. But I'm pretty sure it was in Perth Perth Track Classic maybe that we saw this. I was there as sitting in the stands. But now it looks like this is about 300 metres. Now 300 metres, what would have happened is that people would have given their times, and according to what their personal bests are, then they would then handicapped accordingly. So as a handicapper, if you're the most perfect handicapper, guess what? They're supposed to all finish in a straight line. Do you think that's going to happen?
No, well, yeah, I think, yeah. It's tough, I tell you what.
On your mark.
So we haven't got a start list, but that's great because I've got red, white, blue, yellow, pink and turquoise to call with. Well, I probably won't be calling with it. But
yeah, I think I'm going to go blue.
Okay. I might go yellow.
Darcy and Parry out quick. Column in the back marker making up ground, but Elliott in the blue is moving very nicely through proceedings. Papalexian on the front gets gobbled up. It's out of Darcy, and then Lulu. Darcy takes it in the blue. A very strong win out there.
I should have been gambling on that.
Yeah, well, it'll end up being 100 and not a 300, so... oh, there you go. Very good. Great finish. I love when you're commentating, little surprises come in like that.
Oh yeah, and I mean, these handicap races they are very interesting because it reminds you of when you're a kid, and we sometimes use handicap in hill climbs in training where we handicap people off their PBs that they could do, say, a 3K hill.
Yep.
I love that because you never really know. Technically, everyone should finish together, but it doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
So it's great to watch. That was a great race.
It was a great race. And a great opportunity for them too. Now that the sun's coming down and the lights are on, you can just really feel the atmosphere, can't you?
Oh, it's just building now, and slowly people are get it going on the hill in the back straight there, or the front straight now with these sprints, and they're just all gathering now for more of the races to come, and these guys are just lapping up that atmosphere.
Now we're focusing on the professional run, but up very, very soon. So everyone stick around. We've got the women's 100 metres. And we're just sitting there hoping, praying for the right weather for Melissa Breen to an Olympic qualifier. But we're going to go down to Robbo now to interview our winner.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mel. I've got Ryan Illett down here. He took out the win today in the blue sash. And Ryan, congratulations, mate. We're going to present you here with the blue winner's sash to match your blue running sash, and he takes home $500 there. Thank you, Andrew, and New South Wales Pro Track League. Now, mate, what's your experience been like here tonight running as part of the Sydney Track Classic?
Mate, it's great to be out here in front of a crowd like this. It just makes the race even more enjoyable to be in.
Next week, Stawell is on. I believe you're heading down there. Pretty good crowd down there as well, and a good buzz. Are you looking forward to that one?
Yeah, definitely been my first time down in Stawell, so definitely looking forward to going down and testing my ability with the rest of the boys.
Well, I hope that win there hasn't damaged your handicap too much and you go well down there. And all the best for Stawell and for the rest of the season.
Beautiful. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
There we go. That's Ryan Illett, winner of the New South Wales Pro Track League. 110-metre gift here, down on the beautiful blue track. It's all blue here tonight. Blue sash, blue winners sash and the blue track, and it's back up to you guys.
Thank you so much, Robbo, and what a beautiful finish it was. And he knew it too. Fists in the air. And now here we come to the women's 100 metres. There's Melissa Breen, you just saw in the hot pink, doing a start. Actually, I had a chat to her coach, Maddie B, during the week. In actual fact, he was 40 yesterday, so happy birthday, Maddie.
Oh, yeah, happy birthday.
Which was a great birthday. But he was saying one area they've been really working on the starts with Mel is over that 10 metres. And Mel broke my Australian record back in 2014. She ran 11:11, and I think, you know, been sitting there and working out the speed that she's been getting over those first 10 metres, and have noticed that, you know, that's an area they can work on. So all in preparation. Also, we need to look at Ashley Whitaker. She's in lane 6, 22 years old, has a PB of 11:43, has a season's best of 11:59. Not probably running the same as she did last year, but I'm sure as more races she gets under the belt, the better she'll go. And then lane 3 is Toya Whistle from Papua New Guinea. Now, Toya was first at the Queensland Champs, third at the Canberra Canberra Track Classic. That was also behind Ella Nelson, who we'll see later in the 200 metres, and as well as Mel Breen. So there we are in lane 1, Jane Larkin. Lane 2, Jasmine Everett. Lane 3, Srabani Nanda. Lane 4, Toya Whistle. Lane 5, Melissa Breen. Lane 6, Ashley Whitaker. Lane 7, Christine Wern. Lane 8, Eloise Graff. Lane 9, Stephanie Power. It's all about the preparation here. I know a lot of what the athletes are sort of thinking of is it's about executing the perfect race. And there's Nanda. Nanda ran very well at the Perth Track Classic, especially in the 200 metres. She had a great finish, which was really impressive. Toya Whistle. Now with Toya, you'll notice the start that she gets. She has a very explosive start. And there we've got Mel Breen's stats. 100 metres has a personal best, as I said, of 11:11. 200 metres, 23:12. 5-time national champion. She needs to run a time of 11:32 or faster to qualify for the Rio Olympics. She knows that now she'll have a tailwind. She knows that she's got every opportunity that she needs. It's not only about the start, it's also to holding your form for the finish. The women's 100 metres.
So our quickest, Nanda from India. Now Toya Whistle starts to move in her work. Mel Breen also fighting back on the inside. Whistle will lead them. Flashing home is Breen, and Breen will hit the line in front. A big finish.
Wow, what a great race by Mel Breen. I mean, she knew that Toya Whistle and Nanda were going to get an incredible start, but it was really from that 50 metres, just the explosive speed she held, and it's just so important not to tighten up. And we're just waiting for a time. Unfortunately, we can't see what the time is. It was, you know, from register here over here, maybe a slight, you know, win, but it's all unofficial. But you can just see here, you know, Toya's got a great start. Ashley Whitaker, she's done very well to be up here, but this is where Mel Breen makes an impact. You just see that high knee lift and how much power she's getting over the ground. Obviously, she wanted to win, but most importantly, she wanted a time. So we're just waiting now. Now, because we're down the back track, we've just got to wait for that time. It's come down to 11:60. The time. So, unfortunately, not that qualified. That is unofficial from up here, from the other side of the stadium. But luckily, she's down the track, and we're going to hear from her now.
Well, from one Mel to another. Mel Breen, we've got you down here trackside on the new blue track. 11:60 unofficial we're hearing there over the results. But how was the run there for you tonight, the conditions?
It's actually quite nice now. We've very lucky to run the back straight, so thank you to Andrew Matthews and everyone else at AA who made that possible. Our sprinters really appreciate that. The run felt okay. It's coming together. I look forward to being back here in 2 weeks' time.
I was just going to suggest in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully we can get that about 0.3 taken off that time. You're confident that you'll be able to get that?
Yeah, I am. You know, it proves how special an Olympic year is. Other years I've been able to do it by now, but I haven't yet. I've just got to trust the process and keep my head screwed on. So a win's a win, so I'm happy with that.
Well done once again, as you said, getting that win. And I know you and Coach Matty Beckenham celebrated his 40th birthday yesterday. We'll go back and put a bit more work into that, and we'll see you back out here on the blue track in a couple of weeks' time.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out to support athletics. We really appreciate it, so thank you.
There you go. There's Mel Breen. Always an honour to chat with Mel, Australia's fastest woman. And I'm going to send it back up to the other Mel, Australia's fastest woman over 200 metres.
Thanks so much, Robbo. Oh, wow, look, that was a great run by Mel. You know, it was a really good finish over there. You know, probably not the time that she was looking at. But, you know, we've still got a couple of weeks. There's 2 weeks coming up to, you know, the national championship. So, you know, that's what's really important. So here we've got the men's javelin. We're announcing. We've been seeing over the last couple of weeks Hamish Peacock, who has just been so close, hasn't he, to doing that Olympic qualifier. It's just, you know, you're just watching, you're cheering, and you're just hoping to see it. So let's hope tonight that we will get the opportunity to see him do that qualifier.
And the event's just getting underway when the crowd's getting into the stadium, so hopefully this atmosphere here can bring on those performances with these guys.
Now the qualifier we're looking for is 83 metres. We're just announcing all the throwers. Josh Robertson, he has a season's best of 78.96, PB of 82.48. He was second at the Perth Classic. But here's a man who has been in shape, Hamish Peacock. He has a season's best of 82.81, but we're looking for that 83 metres, which he has been so close. And I know that I was sitting on the back straight with a whole group of athletes just cheering and willing that javelin to make that qualifier.
Yeah.
Yep, ready for starting one up for the under 15.
So we're just getting ready for the women's. Well, they are nearly women's under 15 100 metres. We've had the under 17s men's and women earlier in the night, and now we've got the under 15s. In lane 2, Delly Wiggins, one of my athletes, part of my group. It's so fantastic that she's made it tonight, just like Christy Edwards did, who got a silver medal in the 100 metres earlier tonight. But a great opportunity. It's been a long afternoon, to be completely honest, hanging around here. But another one to watch out for is in lane 5, Dakota Thomas. Dakota got a silver medal last weekend in Perth at the Juniors Nationals. She's done incredibly well. So we're going to start the race. We're not going to, unfortunately, have a start list. But in lane 6 is Tia McPherson, lane 7 Michaela Snow, and lane 8 Emily Britton. The under 15s 100 metres final. So the women's under 1500 metres. Anticipation on their blocks.
So our quickest in 4, Talia Lumau. On her outside, Dakota Thomas and also Tia McPherson. Thomas trying to fight back on the inside. The two Macquarie Hunter athletes at it on her outside. McPherson will hit the line first.
Well, what a close race between Talia and Dakota Thomas. Oh, sorry, Tia and Dakota Thomas. It was really impressive. Dakota, she's had a massive weekend, you know, coming into these championships, coming back off Perth. You know, it's really extraordinary. But how lovely is that? How lovely is it that everyone, you know, giving each other a cuddle? It's pretty special.
Oh, yeah, it's great to see that sportswomanship. But certainly, yeah, coming off those major championships, you know, mentally, physically, emotionally, it's tough to come back out and perform tonight. Fantastic effort.
Look, Tia McPherson got a cracker of a start, didn't she? And, you know, Dakota Thomas is so tall and strong. And, you know, this is the moment that you've got to be able to really hold your form. Oh, it's a close one. Yeah. It's absolutely close. And that's what you've got to love. You've got to love the rivalry you have between, you know, all the athletes in Little Athletics.
Yeah.
Well done to Delhi as well. You know, she's been over the weekend. She made state for the 100, the 200, the 400 and the relay.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's pretty special.
Yeah, it's great to see these girls and everyone across the board in Little Athletics competing in so many different events. And, you know, you always want to have a go in a lot of things, but it's always good for the mothers and the fathers as well, bringing them here and competing tonight. I mean, they've probably been doing other events today as well, so...
So here's the men's under 1500 metres. Probably don't get the luxury of actually competing down the back straight. No, it's interesting actually. We'll have a look after this race. I didn't grab it in the last race to see, you know, what the actual wind is. I mean, it's got very cool now. And, you know, for them to make sure that they can, you know, absolutely keep warm because it's such an explosive event.
So we're just going to go down to Mossy at pole vault.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. I'll tell you what, I overuse it, I know, but it is heating up down here. It's now Australia versus New Zealand at the men's pole vault. The bar is set at 5:42. We've both gone through two misses. Nick Southgate from New Zealand, his PB is 4:35. So for him, if he gets this one at 5:42, obviously that's a new PB. And Curtis Marshall, the South Australian, well, he's 5:50 for his PB. So looking forward to seeing how this one pans out. The Olympic Games qualifier is at 5:70, so we've still got a long way till we get there. Can the Aussies get one up over the Kiwis? We'll find out. Back up to you, Mel and Benita.
Thank you so much, Mossy. It sounds like a great competition down there at pole vault. Gee, Curtis Marshall's been in great form throughout this athletic season, but here we are back to the track for the men's under 15. Now, we saw the women's just earlier. This is probably the last Little Athletics race of the night. All in preparation. What do you think they're thinking, Benita?
I think they're nervous. I think a lot of them look older than 15.
Yes, don't they? You know, I've got a 13-year-old son, and it is extraordinary to actually look at boys at this age and all shapes and sizes, and they all develop at all different times. So here we are for the men's. I'm going to call it men's under 15 on 100 metres. So we've got Focus, Fitzgibbon Soilus, Algira. That's just to name a few, and here they are about to start.
So Aguilera got the best of the starts on his outside, and the Bill Kahn. Still Aguilera holding on the outside, and now flashing home from Warrington, Jocelyn McLaughlin.
So what a start by Al Jalara. He absolutely fired out that first 50 metres. We all know how important it is, isn't it? When you watch the blue ribbon events, the Olympics, how important that start is.
Oh, yeah.
But the main thing is, and this is what I say to all the athletes, it's about holding that speed for that period of time. We've seen a lot of this tonight. Gee, it's great to see. You talk about sport and how people are, and sportsmanship is such an important part.
I see some of these guys have got their face painted. One of the guys has got a little bit of painting on his shoulder. They're just having fun out there, and certainly the competition's tough, but they're enjoying it.
So we're lucky enough to throw down to Robbo to see the winners of the under 1,500 metres.
Thank you very much, Mel. Mel Gainsford Taylor throwing down to us. How good's that? But anyway, Tia McPherson had a busy week over in Perth last week. You're in about 28 events, and here you are today winning the under 15s 100 metres. You're from the Macquarie Hunter Club up there near Newcastle. How was that run there tonight? How did you recover from Perth, and how was that run there tonight?
I recovered from Perth pretty good. It was a pretty busy week, so I had 7 events, and I was pretty buggered by the end of it. But tonight I was happy to come back and run my 100, which was my main event. So I'm really happy with that run. I couldn't be happier. So, yeah, thank you.
The only person that might be a little bit happier is Ghaffar Jalari, who's next to me. He's just taken out the boys under 15s, 100 metres in 11:26. How was your run out there? What was it like running in front of the big crowd here at Sydney Track Classic?
It's a really big honour. I really had a late season. I picked later, so I didn't do nationals because I was really nervous. Then eventually I improved, and I was like, oh my God, I should have done it, but I'm really good. Basically, I'm versing the guys from nationals, so it's a really great feeling, so I'm pretty proud. Long season. Very long season.
Excellent work, guys. Well, congratulations once again. So great to catch up with you. I'm going to send it back up to you, Mel.
What fantastic smiles. You've just got to love it, don't you? And now here we are preparing for the women's 400 metre hurdles. We're going to watch out for lane 4, Lauren Wells. She already has the Olympic qualifier, which she's done a few times. In actual fact, it's 56.20 is the Olympic qualifier, and she's already achieved that, which is it's so good, isn't it, to be able to have that going into an Olympic year.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, and you can just relax and just really focus on your preparation. And obviously, you want to run well at the Australian Athletics Tour and Athletics Champs in a couple of weeks, and get those positionings right. But having the qualifiers, what you want.
Now, Lauren Wells is an 8 times national champion. I spoke to her coach, Maddie B. We saw Melissa Breen earlier, who's also coached by Maddie B. And he was saying one of their goals this season is for Lauren to break 56 seconds. That's what she would like to do. And you can just see there, she's won a World Youth Championship silver medal at the World Youth Games in 2005. 8-time national champion. It's interesting talking to Lauren, and, she sort of came in when Jana Pittman was still. And there's actually talk about Jana possibly trying to make a comeback, having her second baby, which would be great to have her on the track. But, talking to Maddie, we're talking about, in the 400 hurdles, it's all about stride pattern. And you have plans, you have a plan of attack in a race. And what Lauren's planning tonight is to run 14 strides to the 3rd hurdle and then 15 to the 7th hurdle. And then I said to him, okay, well, then where do we finish? He says, well, she's hoping to finish with 16 strides down the front straight. So there we've got the lineup for the women's 400 metres hurdles. Lane 1, Cowie. Lane 2, Sarah Klein. Lane 3, Lauren Wells. Lane 4, Lindsay Pekin. Lane 5, Mackenzie Kean. Lane 6, Lisa Seeley. Lane 7, Caitlin Hawkes, and Lane 8, Lauren McAdam. Another, there we see in Lane 3, Sarah Klein. She's 21 years old. She has a PB of 58.02, and the season's best of 58.22. She's one to look out for. And also Lindsay Pekin. Now, Lindsay Pekin, who is in lane 9, is 29 years old, has a season's best of 58.13. She came third at the Canberra Classic and has also represented at Commonwealth Games. Just introducing to the track. It's probably one of the hardest events. I mean, I know I'm saying this to a marathon runner, but the 400 metres is a hard, and to think about having to jump over 10 barriers.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, I remember talking to Ryan Robinson about it years ago when he was over at the AIS and Manny B as well. And, I can't imagine what they have to do. I think it's a lot harder than what I used to do.
And also, too, when you speak to 400-metre hurdlers, and you can see there Lauren's trying to fire herself up, that she'll probably know that, her PB is, so much stronger than the other competitors, so she's really got to run her own race. And for her, it will be about executing the perfect race. So the women's 400 metres hurdles.
So our quickest New Zealander, Mackenzie Little. She'll lead them through the first. Wells looking good. And out wide, Caitlin Hawkes and Lauren McAdam also moving well. But the New Zealander, Keenan, leading down the back straight. Wells now makes a move and moves into the lead. She's chasing an Olympic Games qualifying performance of 56.20 seconds. And she moves well clear now. Strides away. 3 flights remain. What can the 8-time national champion do here tonight? Let's get behind her up the home straight. 2 to go for Wells. The Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games and World Champs representative. She hits the last. She's flying. We'll look at the clock. 56.2 is the time we're looking for. She hits the line. 56.1.
And she pumps the sky. What a great run. She had to run virtually all of it on her own, but having a little dance.
Fantastic.
And another Olympic qualifier. You've got to be happy with that.
Oh, yeah. Like first Olympic qualifier on the track that we've seen tonight. And, I'd be jumped up and down as well.
And I talked about earlier how Maddie B was saying about, they're wanting to get under 56. Well, that's pretty damn close, I have to admit, but... once she gets overseas and starts competing against the best in the world, those times will just continue to come down. But what a great run. Lindsay Pekin, as you just saw there, but just from the start, she ran a very controlled race, didn't she?
Yeah, and she ran her own race and had no one pushing her in the home straight and still just ran it out. Just fantastic.
Look, it is fantastic. You just see here with the athletes how important it is, the stride pattern and the efficiency. And that's one thing about Lauren that you see. Just coming down. Now, we've just got some unofficial news that we've got a yellow card on Lauren Wells, so we have to wait and see what that means from the officials. Robbo will have the chance to talk to her in a second. So here we see it coming down, and that's the last 2 barriers that, you really don't want to stutter. It's, here is where the impact's got to be made. You're fatigued, you're tired, you've got 40 metres to run, and, she knows that she's running for a time. So we're just going to go down to Robbo, who's with Lauren Wells.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. I'm here with Lauren Wells, and 56.10 is the time that came up there. We're still just waiting on some updates with what's going on with the race. But Loz, first of all, you crossed the line in first place here at the Sydney Track Classic. You saw that time. How did that feel?
Yeah, well, if the time stands, which we're still waiting for, obviously it's thrilling to run under the qualifying time for Rio and, really cement my place on the team.
How has your training been going? We spoke to your training partner before, Mel Breen, under coach Matty B. How has it been going since we last caught up?
Yeah, well, training's been going really well, so I've been getting a bit frustrated because it wasn't being replicated in my races. So I feel like my run tonight is getting closer to where I need to be, and hopefully they don't DQ me.
Now, a bit of a change of pace for you next weekend, heading down to the Stawell Gift. You've been involved with that event previously. What will you be running in there, and you excited for that?
Yeah, I mean, Stawell's always a fantastic event, and I've been there many times, and it's a wonderful event on the calendar. So I'm undecided what I'll run next week, probably a 400, maybe a 550. We'll see, but, you know, the real aim is for Nationals the weekend after.
All right, well, I'm crossing all my fingers and all my toes down here that everything goes okay with that run there. We'll pass it back up to Mel now in the commentary box. Thanks for chatting, Loz.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Yes, regardless, great run by Lauren Wells. I mean, the whole thing is that, you know, you need to be fit and healthy, and, you know, she can take a lot away from that run, and I'm sure it'll be videoed and it'll be watched, and, you know, because the 400 hurdles is so technical.
Yeah.
It really is. You know, just to be able to be as efficient as you can over those hurdles takes such little effort to do them, to conserve it, to be able to do that hard run. So here we are. The hurdles are taken off.
We're up to the men's 800 now.
And now you're excited, the men's 800, bit of distance events.
Pretty excited to see this 800. We've just had fantastic 800 in Melbourne a few weeks ago, and we're looking at tonight James Gurr, who wasn't in Perth last weekend. His brother was getting married, but he's here tonight trying to get that Olympic qualifier, 0.09 off the qualifier, which is 146 flat. So he's trying to get the qualifier tonight, and we've got Mason Cohen who's going to push him here. So we've got in lane 1 Mark Richards, lane 2 Alex Pettigrew, lane 3 Brad Maces, lane 4 Mason Cohen, lane 5 James Gurr, lane 6 Mitchell Thompson, 7 Robert Lister, 8 Eddie Vining, 9 Michael Heron, and lane 10 who's the pacemaker Zach Lenigan. And Zach is looking at sub 1, the pace is 51.3400. So he needs to get out fast here, Zach, to really set the race up. And if these guys want to get a qualifier, they need to be right on the pace when that bell goes, and then be willing to just put it all on the line the last 200. But from everything I've seen, I think James Gurr, could have a real crack.
He was so close, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was so close in Melbourne, that great race with David Radisha, the world record holder, Luke Matthews. It's 0.6, I think it was, off?
0.09.
Yeah, 0.09.
Yeah, yep. So James was just so close. And we're just improving so much in this 800 in the men's. Especially since Alex Rowe equalled Ralph DeBell's Australian record a couple of years ago, and I think the men's 800 has just come forward, and we see Jeff Risley running really well in the World Champs last year. And there we see Gurr. And the field is ready for the men's 800.
On your marks.
So away here in the men's 800 metres. Mason Cohen moving to the front of this field. Gurr on his outside. Now Pettigrew moves up on the inside. The pacemaker coming across, Zach Lanigan. Olympic Games qualifier, 146.00 seconds, and the pace is on early. 25 and change through the 200. So Lanigan pushing the pace in front. Gurr on his outside. Cohen in third. Pettigrew fourth. It looks to be Rob Lister moving into fourth position there. So Lanigan pilots the field. We'll look for the all-important first lap split. 51.70. So it's fast enough for Gurr. If he's got enough in the tank, Lanigan keeps pushing. He's done a good job, the pacemaker. So Gurr now leads. The New South Wales champion, Cohen, on his shoulder, and Gurr now goes by on the back straight. Pettigrew still in third. Lister starts to move now up into his shoulder. But Gurr sets sail for home. 200 remains. 78 seconds through the 600. Let's get behind Gurry as he lifts for home. 1:46.00 is the Olympic Games qualifier. Chasing an Olympic dream here, the young man from the Sutherland Athletics Club. Gurr straining to the finish, clear of Cohen, trying to make his way towards Rio de Janeiro. We'll look to the clock, and Gurry just outside, 1:47.28. Cohen in second, Lister third, and Alex Pettigrew across the line in fourth place there.
So 1:47.28, the winning time there by Gurr. It was close, but just that last 100. Just didn't really have anyone on his outside pushing him.
He gave himself every opportunity, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it's hard to, when you're running out the front, and running for a time, it makes it that little bit harder, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And, it's just having someone right on your shoulder the whole way. But he went for it and he put it all on the line, and that's what you've got to do. I mean, he's coached by Penny Gillies, and I did talk to Penny over in Perth, and I know, he is running. He's running really well, and it just needs to be in the right race to get the time.
And you know what? It's a wonderful story, because I spoke to him after Melbourne, where he also ran so well, coming third there, and he was saying that he was actually thinking of retiring, giving it away. And then when you hear that, and then he came back to Penny Gillies and was coached by her again. Yeah. And then when you hear an athlete thinking of retiring and then coming back in this domestic season and looking so amazing, it's great to see.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. And we'll just cross down now to Robbo on the track.
Yeah, thanks very much, Benita. I'm here with James Gurr, who has just put in another gutsy run, and that's what we know him for. Takes it out hard and finishes hard as well. Unfortunately, not quite shaving that little bit of time off that we would have liked from the big PB down in Melbourne a few weeks ago. But, mate, tell me a little bit about the re-emergence of James Gurr. 33 years old. Where has this come from?
Come on, Rob, I'm 32.
32, sorry, mate.
Fine. Well, I don't think I ever really lost the form. It's just I knew what I could do. And, I mean, I had a bit of a change in coach, which was a very foolish move. But fortunately, back where things work with that particular coach, she knows this year. She's up in the crowd. But really, it was a case of getting back to what makes sense and making a few tweaks to the program, and I'm back.
Now, mate, I had a word with David Rudisha in Perth last week. I tried to convince him to stay for one more week so we could just do a bit more pacemaking for you, but I guess you would have benefited from a couple more people just to keep dragging you around there in the last little bit.
Yeah, it was a shame having some of the big guys not here. There was no Risley, no Rowe, no Ralph, no Matthews, but he'll be running a 15 tonight, and he'll probably be on for something pretty good. But it was a shame the big man didn't stay for one more.
Well, mate, I'm looking forward to that showdown in a couple of weeks' time, back here on the blue track. Go back and get a bit more training in, and I look forward to seeing you sharpened up back out here in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate it. And thanks to the crowd, my parents and girlfriend up in the crowd.
There you go, James Gurr. He's very thankful. A lot of gratitude. Back up to you guys.
And isn't it wonderful to see? I mean, a happy athlete, there's nothing quite like it, and I'm sure that qualifier will come soon. Now, Benita and I are very excited because I'm sure everyone at home is sick of our voices. And we have the great John Stephenson in the house. How are you, John?
It's about to get turned up. Yeah, last year Sydney's so packed. If you're not here, be there or be square.
You know,
you can... Hey, how good is the how good is the track look? You can't deny it if you're out here. The wind has died down. I think this men's 1500 we're about to see is going to be nothing but fire. The boys are ready. I've seen him in warm-up. Ryan Gregson, young Sam. You know, we've seen young Luke Matthews doing his thing, so it's going to be an exciting race. And like I said, you girls have been talking, but I bet you they've been entertained listening to you guys.
Well, you know, just while we're talking to you, John, I've just seen Hamish Peacock throw, and he's just so close to the Olympic qualifier throughout the Australian Athletics Tour.
He's a good man, Hamish.
He's a good man.
Well, it's very hard for the live stream too, because we don't get to see much of the field events, but these guys out there, I mean, doing great things. And like you said with Hamish, that throw was well over 70 metres, Mel.
It was very good. You know, and I've been commentating on the field events, which is great too. Now, and enough about that.
Talk to me.
just let me know, how's things going with you? How's life? Do you sit here and watch the athletics and wish you were on the track?
Very hard to watch these guys do their thing on the track. Once you're a competitor, you're always a competitor, Mel. I mean, many a times in the set of Wild Order Sports, me and you have competitions because we just can't get that competitive spirit out. So, I love being here. I love seeing the younger guys. I love track and field. It's in your blood. Once you do it, once you've repped it, you've done it for so long, you can't help but love it. But I see we're getting wrapped up. So we're going to move on to the next event.
I just want to quickly mention that John Stephenson has been training with a few distance runners in Melbourne. Sure I see on social media. Oh, sure yeah.
And I got a huge respect for these guys. Like I said, it's great. That's the beauty of when you retire. You get to really enjoy the sport for what it is. Being out here as a spectator and also going out and watching these young guys train. And like I said, our crop of distance runners, I think, are dangerous. And it's great that we see them tonight. Nick Beddoes doing a hell of a job out there in Melbourne. And like I said, he's motivating everyone around Australia because there's a lot of great guys. Young Jordan Guzman, he's got a hell of a mouth on him. I like that.
Surely not.
He's the Conor McGregor of the distance running. I like it. So, no, it should be a great event tonight. This is what track and field's about. And we're rebuilding now, man. In years to come, before Gold Coast, you're going to see people who love track and field stand by it because it's making a resurgence and it's going to be nice, man. And we've hung in there for so many years. And like I said, the more we come together, it's going to be a beautiful thing over the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. I'm sure you're going to...
I'm going to head to the core room, man. I want to see the fine racehorses before they get on the track. Thank you, Mel. Thank you. You're doing a great job. And my star, Benita, always great.
Good to see you, John.
2 superstars on the live stream. Where do you get this around the world? 2 superstars on live stream, commentating, giving you the...
John, we've got the 1500 now. Thank you so much for coming.
We've got the women's 1500 field on the start line here in lane 1, Lyndon Hall. 2, Katie Wright. 3, Jenny Blundell. Okay, we'll cross over to the commentator. They're about to start. Holly Campbell, Angela Petty, Heidi C, Amy Harding-Deleuze, Madeline Hills, Lily Harding-Deleuze, Caitlin Simpson, Bridie Delaney, Genevieve Lacaze, Zoe Buckman, and the pace is Beth Croft, and she is supposed to go through 800 in 2:12 to try to set up some of these girls to run Olympic qualifiers. And we have 2 girls qualified already. We have Zoe Buckman and Melissa Duncan, who ran brilliantly in the World Indoors this morning's heat. She's into the final over there, and those 2 girls are qualified. We've got 2 girls here who have run A qualifiers in the steeplechase, Genevieve Lacaze and Madeline Hills, and they're in the field here tonight. But I'm looking at Jenny Blundell here to try to crack a qualifier, and I really think she can do it, but the pace needs to be on. There's a few other girls here. Heidi C won the national championship last year. Zoe Buckman was second. Zoe's a very distinguished 1500 runner, and I think probably the number 1 in Australia, but it's just coming up and up and up. So she'll run better than she did in Melbourne. But their race was very slow in Melbourne, so it didn't really give anyone an opportunity to run an Olympic qualifying standard. So I'm looking forward to a fast race.
Yeah, so Zoe's coming back from injury because it was Melbourne really her first big race?
Yeah, she hadn't run for a long time before Melbourne, but I hear she's training really well. I heard from her coach Nick Beddoes that she's doing really well. So let's see a big improvement by Zoe in this race. We've got twins, the Deleuze twins. They both ran really well over in Perth at the national championships, and they're just here for us, some great experience. And
just very quickly before the race starts, I saw the most beautiful thing in the 800 metres. Amy was moving out of the way for her sister Lily to hopefully qualify for the under-20 World Championships, and that was just such a beautiful moment. But they are Harding-Deleuze are very, very talented twins, aren't they?
Yeah, they're fantastic athletes. We also have Lyndon Hall in the field. The women's 1500.
Plainly, the meet record 4:05.25 held by Zoe Buckman, and the all-important Olympic Games qualifier 4:07.00. The number of girls in this field well in contention to book their spot on the plane to Rio. And the pace is quick early. The leader, Beth Croft, she's the New South Wales steeplechase champion. But she has volunteered to take this field around tonight and chase their Olympic dreams. So Petty moves into second. On the inside, In the fluorescent vest there, Heidi C. Madeline Hills, Nee Heiner moving up on the outside. Jenny Blundell tucked in on the inside there. And Holly Campbell on her outside. So Croft leads here. These girls appear to be moving pretty quickly. It's a 66-second first lap, so that puts them right on 4:08 pace if they maintain that tempo. So they're not too far away from the schedule required for that Olympic Games qualifier. But Croft still leads here. Petty, the New Zealander, in second. Heidi C now moving up on her outside. Blundell tucked away on the inside on the rail. And Madeline Hills, who had a spectacular season last year in Europe at steeplechase and 5,000 metres, moving down in distance now to the 1,500. So Croft still leads, moving around on the outside. Holly Campbell from New South Wales and Lyndon Hall now. The 410 athlete has spent some time at Florida State in the US, moving her way through the field. So Croft still in front. She slowed slightly through in 2:15. So the pace will need to quicken here. And Petty, the New Zealander, now moves to the front. Madeline Hills on her outside. Heidi C still there. Campbell still there. And the field is bunched. And we've just done the 600 metres to go. The race has become a wee bit tactical. So Petty still leads, Hill on her outside. And now Lyndon Hall moves into third position. It's tightly bunched. It's rough and tumble in there. 3:50 to go. Hills makes a move. Now Lyndon Hall. The Victorian athlete hits the front and goes for home. Sia's still there. Lacar's now moves into the frame, and Jenny Blundell eases onto the back of that pack. So Hall now, 200 to go, trying to inch away from this field. C moves up. The national champion gets onto the shoulder of the Victorian champion. So Hall will lead him into the straight. C now moves up on the shoulder. Lacars moves into the frame again. Blundell on the outside, coming late, but C trying to hold them, and she will do so. The national champion will salute at the Sydney Track Classic.
Great.
4:10.38. Hall in second.
Great win there by Heidi C, and that's pretty much the same way she won the national championships last year, and fantastic effort. I just love her to try to get that qualifier, and I think the race was a little bit slow in the mid stages. About 4:10 was the winning time, and Lyndon Hall came second, and great run by Lyndon Hall. She goes to college in America, over in Florida, and that's her best run this season as well. Jen Lacaze was coming late there at the finish as well. It was just a bit disappointing that the pace wasn't on in the third lap, really.
Yes, Jen, she's had a great season now, hasn't she? I mean, she's just been doing personal best in all the events she attacks, so she's in one of the best shapes of her life. But Jenny Blundell, did she just leave her run too late here?
Yeah, I think so. Just a little bit late. We've seen the replay here. Lyndon Hall goes to the front and just running so aggressively, and that's what I like to see. She's really going for it. And she's young, Lyndon Hall, from Victoria, and out here racing at all these meets. And see Heidi C. She's back over here. She went to college over in America as well. Just coming off the bend there. Yeah, it's really who's got the most left in this last 100.
She looks so fluent, doesn't she, Heidi? I mean, she's just got this beautiful stride. And you can see here Jennifer Lacaz is trying to fight for it. Jenny Blundell coming home, but what a great run by Heidi C.
So we're going down now to Robbo with Heidi C at the finish.
Yeah, thanks very much, Benita. We've just finished off watching the replay there. Heidi C, congratulations on getting the win. A pretty stacked field there. You had your work cut out. Tell me about the tactics and how that race builds.
Yeah, I definitely had my work cut out for me because that was a great field of girls to race against. Tactically, I just tried to keep it simple. Didn't want to worry about pace or anything and just wanted to stay near the front and be in a position where I could win the last 200.
Now, a few more seconds to go. Are you confident you can come back in a couple of weeks? It'll be a big shake-up. A lot of the same girls will be there trying to really get that qualifier, get that win at Nationals to cement that auto nomination. Are you confident with the work that you're doing you can really go hard at that?
Yeah, definitely. People say that the Olympic year is, just like every other year, but it really isn't. So I know every one of those girls are going to be really hungry for the win, even more so than any other year. So I've definitely got to focus and work hard and, just go after it.
Well, you're the reigning national champion. I know they're going to be hunting hard to get that scalp of yours here in a couple of weeks. But well done again on that win tonight. Good luck with the next couple of weeks of training. We can't wait to see what's going to be a huge battle in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
There's Heidi C. She's thrilled with the win there. And look, we thought that was exciting. We've got the men's 1,500 metres coming up very shortly. So it's back up to Mel and Benita.
Thanks very much, Robbo. It is exciting and still coming up. The men's 1,500 metres and let's not forget the women's 200 metres with Ella Nelson. We'll be back straight after the break.
So we've got the men's 1,500 on the start line here. In lane 1, Adrian Plummer. 2, Sam McEntee. 3, Craig Huffer. 4, Josh Wright. 5, Brenton Rowe. 6, Jeremy Roff. 7, James Hansen. 8, Eric Speakman. 9, Jeff C. 10, Jack Stapleton. 11, Tom Forthorpe. 12, Adam Pike. 13, Jordan Guzman. 14, Luke Matthews. 15, Ryan Gregson. And the pacemakers are Joshua Johnson and Fraser Garland Barnes. It's going to be a great race. We're trying to look for the Olympic qualifying time of 3:36.20. And the pace is looking at 1:55 through 800. We say it could be Luke Matthews v Ryan Gregson, but there's so many guys in this field that are going to be up there as well, and we just want the pace to be on from the start. So
there's
excited.
been some hype. Look, I am so excited. This is just going to be such an incredible race, with Luke Matthews, Ryan Gregson being training partners.
Yep.
And as you said, it's a packed field all up. I know that you pinpoint those two athletes, but with that qualifying time of 3:36.20, we have no qualifiers as yet. So this is a great opportunity. And the conditions are perfect.
It's great for distance running.
So who knows? This could be one of the biggest events on the Australian Athletics Tour with results.
And we've also, Sam McEntee is also in that Melbourne Track Club group. He's looking at a qualifier. Jordan Guzman as well. I think he could be up there. Adam Pike. I mean, there's so many guys. We just need the times to be set and the fast pace to be set. And they've got to really forget about the time and just focus on the race, and that's usually when the qualifiers come. Men's 1500.
So away here in the 1500 metres, the pacemakers have taken it out quickly. Joshua Johnson and Fraser Garland-Barnes from New South Wales on the front there. So they've moved well clear of this chase pack. And they appear to be setting a tempo. So 40 seconds through the 300, very quick. And now the chase comes from the second pack led by Brenton Rowe and Adam Pike from Victoria. On the inside, Josh Wright, the tall figure there in the fluorescent. So 56 first lap. Fraser Garland-Barnes. Joshua Johnson there in second. A couple of metres back and maybe 20 metres back now to Brenton Rowe, the Austrian athlete out of Victoria. So Garland-Barnes still leads here. Johnson from the ACT moving up onto his shoulder. So Rowe from Austria, Pike the Victorian, now on the outside. Luke Matthews, who also has a sub 4 minute mile to his credit, as well as an Olympic qualifying performance at 800 metres, which he's put down at the Melbourne World Challenge. Now, the national record holder, Ryan Gregson, moves up onto Matthews' shoulder. The West Australian McKenty there, and Josh Wright from New South Wales moving around on the outside. With Brenton Rowe, Pike still there. So Joshua Johnson coming up to the 1K mark. He was out quickly, and they've just began to reel him in. So Johnson working hard for this pack. Matthews leading Gregson. McKenty there, Wright moving up. And Speakman also there, the New Zealander. So Johnson still leads. 5 metres clear with Luke Matthews, with his training partner Gregson on his shoulder. Wright also there. The moves start to come. Gregson hits the lead. Wright looms up on his shoulder. Matthews goes again. So Matthews and Gregson hit the front of this field. Gregson tries to inch away. Matthews responds. Wright still there. Guzman now in the picture as well. But Gregson will lead them into the straight. If Matthews is good enough, he can challenge. But Gregson moves clear. The national record holder shows his class, moves to the line, and stops the clock at 3:39. 7:0 seconds.
Great run, Ryan Gregson. 3:39 high, I think, but we'll just wait for the official time. But undefeated this year and still undefeated. I think the pace they just didn't go with the pacemaker. The pacemakers, I think, were a little bit fast early, and the main pack didn't go with them. But brilliant run by Ryan Gregson. Saluting the crowd here, everyone's clapping. Oh, he's a great performer. Looking forward to seeing Ryan race nationals in a few weeks, and Luke Matthews, a good run as well. It just looked a bit choppy, that race. It just didn't look clean. It didn't look like it was ever going to be anywhere near a qualifier. 3:39.6.
It was a lot of looking around at one stage, wasn't it? And, you know, obviously, you know, trying to make a pace to go for a time is so different because it's going to be tough because in a couple of weeks it's going to be the Nationals, which will be very tactical, isn't it?
And really the race tonight was run like a Nationals is when they don't go with the pace. And, you know, Ryan Gregson came out on top. So I think as long as Ryan can get the time, and he will, and he's been training really well, Luke's been training really well. Guzman's a Dick Telford athlete as well. Like he's had a great run too. And I think, you know, that they'll go to Europe and get the time if they can't get it before then. But certainly great performance by Ryan Gregson.
I just love his turnover of speed. I mean, we saw it in Melbourne with 300 to go. You know, and that's a really great factor to have, isn't it?
And Gregson is down on the track with Robbo. Oh, we can't hear. Oh.
We've got some technical issues down there, so we just might speak on what a great run that was. Also, Luke Matthews, who has an 800-metre qualifier. You know, and he's still choosing, isn't he, between the 800 and 1500?
Yeah, I don't really know which way he's going, but he's so young as well, and to just run and have that big breakthrough over 800 and then to be out here tonight over 1500, he's always learning. And someone like Luke Matthews, he's going to be learning a lot from Ryan Gregson and guys like that. Collis Birmingham's in that group as well, and just learning from those older guys. And Luke's got a brilliant, bright future ahead of him, and I love watching him race every time I see him.
Yeah, you know, people talk about, you know, your training partners and how important they are. That just must bring out the best in them. You know, I'm a true believer of it, to be in a group like that, that every session you be pushing yourself.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, and there's a lot of these groups around the place here in Sydney as well that just have so many people that come to training pushing each other, and I know those guys just feed off each other, feed off the positive energy. We've had Jen LeCays running so well as well. And just, it's just fantastic. And I like to see these guys do well, but we also want to see the qualifiers, and then they can just relax and get on with the job to Rio. But the Australian Championships now is what they've all got to focus on, and just making sure they run in the top 3 places.
So that'll become tactical, won't it?
Yeah, usually the National Championships is, and sometimes it's a bit harder when they have to do heats and finals than a race like tonight, which is just technically should have been a time trial, but tonight was even harder because they thought it was going to be a time trial and it wasn't, because no one went with the pace. So it's more tactical and you've just got to think again. So it's even better run, I think, in that sense of the word. They're all fired up for the pace to be on at the start. But to see Ryan Gregson walking off the track now, and Robbo's gone to get a microphone. I'd love to hear Ryan talk, and Luke Matthews as well, and see how they felt about that race, because no one went with the pace, and I just thought that the pace,
Well, hopefully we'll get that chance a little bit later, but now we've the next one up. Another fantastic race is the women's 200 metres now. We've been talking about this incredible athlete, Ella Nelson, who ran a time of 22:53 at the Canberra Classic. And you know, we all talk about that. She just waved to the crowd, but we've talked about, you know, how it's the fastest time since 2000, which is a very long time. And I know that she mentioned in 2014, you know, she was very close to Sally Pearson, and that gave her that little bit of confidence. And then last year here at the Sydney Track Classic, she also, you know, ended up, you know, beating Sally, and that's obviously been the massive turnaround for her. So obviously, we've had quite a few little headwinds tonight. Not sure of the time, but I have to admit her improvement has been enormous. And we talk about social media, and I've seen how she's been working. But here we have the final of the women's 200. We've got Tavlin Singh in lane 1, Lane 2, Monica Brennan. Lane 3, Ella Nelson. Lane 4, Toya Whistle. Lane 5, Ashley Whitaker. Lane 6, Nanda. Lane 7, Power. And lane 8, Jane Larkin. One of the things I've seen with Ella Nelson is how much she's improved around the bend, and that's really made a massive impact on why she's now running so fast.
Yeah.
The women's 200 metres.
So our quickest. Well, there appears to be some unsteadiness there, so we pull back and we'll leave that in the hands of our well-credentialed judges.
Unfortunately, a false start there. It looked like Jane Larkin, and as we all know, it's a pretty cutthroat sport now. One start and you are out, which is not a big fan of it, I have to admit. I quite like the false start. Maybe the next person then gets disqualified, but everyone knows the rules. There we have Ella Nelson. It's just been so brilliant to watch her. It's just so exciting. Australian sprinting in this country at the moment, and she's one of the reasons why.
Yeah.
So Whistle jumped best. Brennan also good. Tavleen Singh not bad on the inside. Nelson with some work to do as Toya Whistle will lead them clear into the straight. Nelson starting the fight back on the inside. Whistle still holding on, but here comes Ella Nelson from New South Wales. 22.53 this year in Canberra. She streaks away from this field. She'll hit the line. 23.14.
Great smile on her face. 23.14 into a minus 0.6 headwind. When you're running against Toya Whistle, she didn't look particularly fast in that first 50 metres, but Michael Dooley, who's her coach, has said that's an area she needs to work on. But you always know that Toya Whistle, who was on her outside in lane 5, is always going to get a great bend. But it's just the impact that Ella's been making over that last 70 metres. It's just seeing the amount of power she gets off the ground and the way she covers the ground. It's absolutely beautiful to watch.
Oh, I love watching her finish, and she just reminds me a little bit of Alison Felix. Just everything's just so effortless. And I mean, you're the expert, Mel, but yeah, fantastic.
I may be the expert, but you're an athletic expert, and you're exactly right. It is like Alison Felix. She's not, explosive like myself or Veronica Campbell-Bowen, but the best thing is she's down with Robbo, and let's just hear how Ella Nelson felt about that fantastic run.
Thanks very much, Mel Gaines for Taylor. Yes, I've got Ella Nelson down here. 23.12 official we see there. Another Olympic qualifier for Ella, the queen of the bend we've been calling her this season, and the season continues. You would have loved to have, I'm imagining, you would have liked to have gone a little bit quicker tonight. Can you reflect on that run?
Yeah, I really wanted to crack under 23 again. It would be really good to just cement that stuff for my min. But yeah, today, I don't think my head was in it. I don't know, the start kind of threw me off a bit, and my bend wasn't as good as I would have liked it to have been. So hopefully I can improve on that going into nationals.
And coming off all the commentary you've been doing over in Perth, maybe that's been what it's been. You've been worn out from doing too much commentary. But that's 3 wins in 3 years here at the Sydney Track Classic. What is it about this meet that you love?
It's my home. I love it. Snowpack is my favourite track in the entire world. And so stoked.
Well done. And guess what? You get to come back and run on it again in 2 more weeks. You're looking forward to that?
Yeah, most definitely. I really want to try and defend my national title and just crack another good time out.
All right, well, hopefully we'll be chatting again when that rolls around in a couple of weeks. Now, we made you wait for a chat with Ryan Gregson. I'm going to get Ryan in here now. And congratulations, Ella. Well done once again. Jump on over here, Grego. So congratulations, Ryan Gregson, taking out what was one of the most highly anticipated events of the night, mate. I want to start off by asking you, I guess leading into this event, what held the most weight in your mind? Hitting a certain time or just trying to beat your training partners?
beaten Luke. Yeah, he's the hottest young athlete in Australia right now, and I think people this week were calling me the veteran. I'm still only 25, just to say, but it was hard trying to beat him, and luckily a bit of age experience showed.
He had those pacemakers in the race there. What was the go with them? Did they not put any deodorant on or something? No one wanted to be near them.
Oh, well, Luke and I, we're always going to make the pace strong at the end of the race, and we thought, be up to one of the, domestic-based guys to get on the pace early, but not to be, and Luke and I will just have to chase it elsewhere.
All right, mate. Well, well done once again. I know you enjoy coming back here, getting the win here on your home track again, and putting on a show for all the fans. Thanks for everything you do, and we look forward to cheering you on again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thanks very much, Robbo.
There you go, Ryan Gregson. He's all smiles. And we've got the javelin just finishing off. Mossy's keeping abreast of that. But one more event to go on the track, and it will be the women's 5,000 metres, 12 and a half laps around this beautiful new blue track. And the officials are getting ready to count the laps down here. And I'm buzzing as well, but it's back up to you guys.
Thank you so much, Robbo. It was great to hear from Ryan Gregson. Yes, 25 is very, very young. I have to admit, and I only wish I was 25 again, but let's not forget, in a couple of weeks is the Australian Athletics Championships from the Thursday, the 31st of March to Sunday, the 3rd of April. And we also know that it is the nomination trials for the Rio Olympics. Now, if anyone's interested, you can get online and get your tickets. Please come down and grab your tickets. You've just seen a little bit of taste of what the championships have to offer, and the main thing is it is the Olympic year, and you will get to see athletes who are going to compete at the Olympic Games. So the Australian Athletics Championships, the 31st of March to Sunday, the 3rd of April. And if you can't get down here, we'll be on live stream.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're in the
Live
state. But, if tonight is a taste of what we're going to see in a few weeks, it's going to be very special.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm so excited about the national championships and seeing all these athletes race again, and anyone who's anyone, and everyone, even our own Tamsin Lewis-Manow, she's running as well.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
800?
Yep, 800. So we'll see how Brisbane goes tonight. She's live.
And that's the exciting thing too. So if anyone's sitting at home and thinking what they're going to do, it's 8:19. The best thing is, straight after this, on live stream, we've got the Queensland Track Classic. But before we head off there, we've still got the men's javelin. And Mossy, what's going on down there?
Well, I can tell you what, all the talk leading into this one was the Tassie tosser himself, Hobart's Hamish Peacock. Can he nudge that 83? We know he can. He's done it before, a PB of 83.31. But right now, he's just thrown his best after 5 rounds, 75.32, which does move him into second place. First place so far is Josh Robinson, 76.29. We talked in the opening about Josh coming back after 14 months with a shoulder surgery. He was 4th at the Commonwealth Games back in 2014. Hamish was 3rd, but right now at the moment Josh is currently leading. Stuart Farquhar, for all our Kiwi friends over there, 73.30, and Reece Steen, local boy, 73.53 in 4th position at the moment. So it's very, very much starting to heat up. Josh Robinson just behind me, about to throw out right now. And it's hard to tell. I'll see if I can judge his reaction. He seems to be pretty happy with that. It'll be interesting to see what we get there. The white flag is up there, illegal throw here in the javelin. That's the final throw of the 5th round, and I can tell you what, it's the Brisbane boy himself, Joshua Robinson, in the lead. Back to you, Mel and Benita.
Thank you very much, Mossy. Well, that makes a very good competition. And now, while we've been talking about the javelin, we've also got now the women's 5,000 metres, which is one of the last track events of the night. We don't have a particularly big field, do we, Benita? But a good field nevertheless.
Yeah, not a big field at all. And we had a few girls that were thinking of going in the 5K, and they changed to the 1,500. We have Yumi Yoshikawa, Lucy Starrett, Gemma Maini, Kate Spencer, Camille Bushcombe, and Annabelle McDermott. So a very small field here, but these girls are all going to have a bit of a go, and I'm really excited to see Kate Spencer back racing, and very talented junior, hasn't raced at all for a while, and we'll see what she can do here.
Yes, we have, 3 qualifiers in this event. The qualifying time is 15:04:07, which has been achieved by Eloise Wellings, Madeline Hills, who we saw earlier, and Emily Bricachet. So the qualifiers are there, which is, as we keep saying, one of the most important things to have. But tonight, actually, how's Emily Bricachet going?
Yeah, well, she's run her qualifier last year over in America, and she hasn't run it all season so far, so I'm not particularly sure. And 15:24, I mean, the qualifying time is definitely achievable. Madeline Heiner also has gone under there, and I think, you know, with the 5K, it is a tough event, and they don't run it very often. And we have 4 girls over at the World Half Marathon Championships, and one of them being Eloise Wellings, and she just led this event forward over the last few years, and you know, qualified for Sydney Olympics when she was only 15 in the 5K, and was out for a while and then came back. And you know, someone like Kate Spencer, coached by Ken Green here from New South Wales, she's only 20. She's run 15:32 over 5K. Her PB for 3K is 9:09, and she's definitely one of those juniors that we're looking at to kind of come up. And we see here Camille Buscombe from New Zealand is leading. Don't know too much about Camille. She's run 15:28. Brilliant runner over there for New Zealand, and we've seen people like Kim Smith come through the American system over in New Zealand. Nick Willis, who we just saw, Craig Huffer in the men's 1500, trains with Nick over in Michigan. So some of that New Zealand connection is definitely rubbing off here over in Australia. And Camille's just edging over, 5 metre gap now on the field, and it's be interesting to see how some of these other girls in the field react to this change of pace. And we would have liked to have seen a bigger field in this 5K for sure, and we just didn't get it. We've had some really strong 3K steeplechase runners with Vic Mitchell, and we just saw Genevieve Lacaze run really well in the 1500, and she's got an Olympic qualifier over 3K steeple. Madeline Hills has got a qualifier over 3K steeple, and I'd like to talk a bit about Madeline Hills because, you know, last year was a big breakthrough season for her, and you know, she ran 15:11 for 5K and 8:44 for 3K, 9:21 for 3K steeplechase, and you know, she just missed making the final in the steeplechase by 1 spot at the World Champs last year, and also just missed by 1 spot making the 5K final at the World Champs last year. So, you know, Madeline just made huge improvements, 8:44 for 3K flat. And I just love to see her this year at the Olympics and really have a crack at those girls. And I know she's not in this race, but didn't get much of a chance to talk about her when she was in the 1500 before. And obviously she's looking at doing speed, running the 1500 and then going on to nationals for the steeplechase. But she had a really good run in Melbourne at the Melbourne Grand Prix, winning there, and Genevieve Lacaze second, and both in Olympic qualifying times. So
it was impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a really, and like to have the two of them to be going head to head like that, it's just, you know, it's just so good, not only for the sport, for middle distance running within the sport.
Yeah, and I just love to see it, and I think, you know, the 5K and the 10K aren't terribly strong, and we've got 3 really strong girls qualified for the marathon. We have, you know, Lisa Waitman, Millie Clark, and also Jess Trengrove. So it's just the 5K and 10K, I feel that, you know, we've just got a bit more improving to go. And I mean, I've got both of those national records, but I'd like to see someone get closer over, you know, in the coming years, and they're a good 12, 14, 13 years old now. So, you know, we've got some talented juniors and some girls coming through, but I think it's just that next step from when they're kind of 20 to 25 to make it to that next level. And I'm really hoping that we can get some coming through. But at the moment, it's through the other events that we're seeing it.
We're talking about records. It was extraordinary. I was, you know, going through the records the other day, and you said you've got the 5K, you've got the 10K, you've got the marathon record, and there's also, the 2K as well? What other records you got? Australian records?
3K indoors, 3K outdoors, a few road records, but I mean,
that's extraordinary. Like, if I didn't have such bad knees, I would sit here and just bend down in praise for you, because that is absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, I'm just really thankful to have had such a good career. And I mean, all my records were done overseas with the competition. And I think that's it's tough about living in Australia here. It's hard to get the competition, especially in our summer. But, you know, we set up some really good races. And it's beautiful weather tonight for a fast 5K. We just don't have quite enough girls in the race here to make it competitive in the sense. But Camille she's pushing on the pace. And, you know, she's trying to get a qualifier for her New Zealand team. And I'm not sure which standards that they go by, but the IAAF standard's 15:24, so that's probably what she's aiming for. And certainly, I enjoyed doing a lot of these events, but I always loved them when there was a lot of competition, and I didn't particularly like just chasing times. I was always better when the races were just races, not time trials. And you know, people like Paula Radcliffe and some of those, they like to just go chasing times, and they can run on their own and really push themselves. But I'm more, I just like the competition. So, I mean, if we can set something like that up. And I think that's why in 1500 and the 3K steeple we can do it, because we've got a lot more of the girls that are doing that event at the moment. But we do have a few of our top ones away. And Eloise Wellings, I mean, this was her event when she was a bit younger, and she's still very good at the 5K. And over at the World Half, she's undefeated at half marathon, so that could be a bit of a breakthrough for her going into the Olympics, and what she's focusing on as well for the Olympics.
We're talking about Kate Spencer, you know, being young and being a young distance athlete. What advice would you give, you know, to young distance athletes? Because we all talk about how much training's too much, or even, you know, we were here with the Little Athletics all weekend, you know, and we've got distance events on again tomorrow. What's too much, you know, for an athlete? Is there Ks that you work on? Yeah, what would be the best advice you could give to them?
I think don't step up in distance too early, and often I see younger athletes, they're doing distances that are too far when they're 12, 13, 14. You know, I think you really need to focus on things like 800, 400, even other sports when you're at school. And some of these girls that step up in distance a bit too early on. I always say that if you're going to be one of the best distance runners and really reach your peak, it's not going to be till you're 28 or 30 or, you know, over 25 anyway. And I think, you know, you can start training a lot harder when you hit your 20s, but I think it's a combination of mileage, intensity, and putting too much pressure on yourself young. And, you know, you want to be enjoying it. But I think doing other sports and doing the shorter stuff is the best way to progress forward to being a long-distance runner in the future, which sounds a bit backwards, but I think, you know, I was thankful that I was in hockey and not really, you know, focused on so many things when I was a kid. And you just kind of take it year by year. And even someone like Luke Matthews, you know, they have little breakthroughs and then they get excited for the next thing and the next thing. But if he was doing that when he was 10, you know, he might not be around now. So I think it's the same kind of concept. I think it's harder for girls when they grow, about that 18. Like we noticed at Perth at Nationals, when the under 18 age group was not as competitive as the under 20 or under 16s in a lot of distance races. And I think the girls just develop, you know, they just develop, grow and develop, and it's just not, the quality's not there. But that's just a natural progression, you know, and that's just what happens. And being a World Junior year as well, some girls were running up an age to try to make the World Juniors.
Now, Camille's looking very comfortable here, and she knows that she's got a very handy lead. What would she be thinking now?
Well, she's just got under 2K to go. She just went past 5 laps to go, so she's just thinking, I've just got to try to get, you know, as fast as I can to the finish over the last mile. So she'll come down through the finish line and she'll have 4 laps to go. And 5Ks mentally, it's a tough race, you know. It's just like lap after lap. But if you're running well, the laps just go by really quickly. And I think that's what she's thinking about. But I always find 5Ks are hard to run by yourself. Eloise Wellings can run them awesome by herself. She's a brilliant front runner, can pace people really well, but different personalities. I hated being by myself like this.
I can understand that. I mean, as a sprinter, for last year, I don't know if you can say that I ran a marathon. I attempted to run a marathon, and I had to do 5K time trials around the track.
Yeah.
It is one of the hardest things you have to do. I actually had dreams about, I think it was nightmares, that I had to do it again, I had to run an actual, you know, marathon around.
Oh, it's tough. And we see here that we've got Gemma Maini and also Kate Spencer running together in second and third, and they're just working together. And yeah, we have fourth place now just crossing the line, Lucy Starrett as well. So the top 4 girls have all got 4 laps to go, and very strung out though. But if those girls in second and third, they can work together, they can finish on as fast as they can. But they've now got just over a K to go. And Camille, she looks like she's hurting a bit. She's grimacing a bit, but you're always going to be hurting at this stage of 5K. And I've never been feeling good with 1,200 metres to go. So I think once you get inside that last K, it's gonna you're gonna get to finish and you're gonna do really well. But it's that the time between probably 3 and 4K that's the toughest. And that's what Camille's in now. So she'll hit a K to go soon up on the back straight there, and then she knows she's only got just over 3 minutes of hard running to go, and you can get to the finish then.
And there's Yumi Yoshikawa from Japan, one of the many international athletes, which has been amazing, isn't it? Like David Rudisha, how lucky are we to have had him?
Yeah.
At 2 of our big meets on the Australian Athletics Tour. And I have to admit, I was in London watching his world record. It was the most extraordinary thing I've ever seen. And I know I've seen a lot of men and run 100 metres, but the speed he did that in was mind-blowing.
Oh, he's amazing, and he's just so relaxed, and the way he talks, and I just love it how those sort of people like Usain Bolt, I think he's the same. They're just so relaxed, but when they're out there competing, it's on. But they're not that intense all the time, and I think you've got to have that differentiation. We see Camille here coming with 2 laps to go, so she looks like she's doing it tough, but she's just got to keep that rhythm and that pace going. We see the clock here, we're at 13:14 with 2 laps to go. So she'll, see, it's hard to say what kind of time and how much she's got left in that last 800. Next 2 girls going past now in 13:25. So we have Kate Spencer and also Gemma going through there.
Do you have mental gymnastics? Is it as such when you've got 2 laps to go? Do you talk to yourself and trying to push yourself, or?
Yeah, you've got to talk to yourself, but I think certainly you've got to be ready for the pain as well. And I just want to correct myself. It was Annabelle McDermott going through there with Gemma. So those 2 girls running together. Annabelle McDermott from New South Wales. She's only 17. Best is 16:29. So first at National Junior Championship, so my apologies for that.
And with her winning that National Championships and also having qualifiers, she's booked for the World Under-20 Championships, which is in Poland later on in the year, which is exciting. They were great, the championships last week, and it was amazing how many athletes you saw running the Junior Championships and then backing up either for the Track Classic. Obviously in this event you can't, but also here at the Sydney Track Classic.
Yeah, it's just amazing because, those championships just take so much out of you. And the last day was 38 degrees, as you know, and for these distance races it was tough. So we're just going through with 1 lap to go. We'll see if McDermott can get up there as well. Those girls have been running together for a fair way now, and this last lap you just got to give it everything you've got.
You can just see that Camille just using her arms now, knowing that she's got about 200 metres to go. This is where doing speed work as a distance runner would be very important, isn't it, to have that turnover of speed?
And you don't need that really fast speed, but you need to be able to sprint at the end, and you can't win races if you've got no speed at the end. So it is really important, but that strength and that aerobic endurance is really important as well to have. I see Camille here running through the line, looking at a time in the mid 15:40s, 15:43. That's a good run from the front. And her PB is only 15:28. Her season's best is 15:48, so that's the fastest time she's run all year. So we've seen here that Gemma Maini got second and Annabelle McDermott third. That was a good tussle between those two girls there. It's a big gap now. So yeah, these 5Ks are tough. And usually the next day you're going to be a bit sore. But you just want the competition, really. And you want nights like tonight. So if we just had a few more people up there. So Lucy Starrett as well from New South Wales finishing second in New South Wales champs. And
so we're just finished the women's 5,000 metres and now we're heading down to the javelin to see what's happened.
Well, I can tell you what's happened. It's the Mossy and Robbo show here. That's right, Dave Robbo's gone. I've got Josh Robinson, who got the W tonight here at the Sydney Track Classic. The numbers, so we know the top three. Reece Dean, the local boy, 73.56. He's throwing really well this year. Looking forward to watch his progression over the next couple of years. Hamish Peacock, we talked about him at the top of the show, 75.32. But it was this man here, 78.89 with the final chuck of the night. Listen, mate, we had a little bit of a chat. Not ideal conditions tonight for conducive for long javelin throws.
No, it did seem to be a bit difficult tonight. Heavy air and things just didn't seem to work as well for everybody.
So talk us through that heavy air. I would have thought that the air is pretty similar everywhere, but around Australia, different?
It is a little bit. There's good conditions in places like Canberra, which is nice and dry. Then places like Brisbane and Perth often get quite warm. That's generally what we're chasing.
Now, what about for you having this sort of time out, last 14 months with your shoulder injury? Tell us a bit about the rehabilitation and to get to the point where you are now.
Well, look, my shoulder's in a funny place because it's actually down here on my knee.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Look, I had a piece of bone in my patella tendon, so had a chat to the surgeon. He took it out, and it's just basically been recovery from then. Here I am now, fit and healthy, ready to go.
Now, last week over in Perth Track Classic, you threw high into the 70s. You've done it again. What's your expectations for this season?
Look, I've been training really well, so, I really do want that qualifier, and I think I've got it in me. I just need to get it right on the day in a competition.
Well, thanks very much for talking to us on the live stream. Josh Robinson, the winner of the men's javelin.
Thank you so much, Mossy. What a great win by him. And also, we talk about our athletes and injuries is the biggest key factor, isn't it? And you just sometimes go, you just want to turn up on the line, in a pit, on a runway, in one piece.
Easier said than done.
Well, it's been a wonderful night. It has been great.
Yeah.
The crowd's now starting to part. The most exciting thing is we've got another track classic coming up in Queensland Track Classic straight after this. But there's been some great performances, hasn't there? What's one of your favourites of you so far?
Well, I mean, the 1500s for me, even though I previewed them before, and Heidi C winning that, she's very good at championship races. That was a highlight for me, and Gregson as well, undefeated and still winning. So those two, I think, for me, but being very distance orientated, I think those two.
That's understandable. There was a lot for me along the lines of it's great to see Danny Samuels' consistency with the throws. It was great to, see Ella Nelson run. I know she wanted to go on that 23 seconds, but it's just another run under her belt. And then also Mel Breen as well. And, here we are again, just to get people out there to realise that in a couple of weeks we have the Australian Athletics Championships. It's also the nominations for the Rio Olympics. So if anyone is, keen to come out, please come out. Bring your young kids to be inspired. As we see, it's there from the Thursday, the 31st of March to the 3rd of April. It'll be a wonderful weekend of athletics. But we've just talked about our highlights, Benitez, but let's go down to, Mossy and Robbo. What were your highlights, guys?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mel. And I can see just in front of us here, there's a couple of big tents. I'm wondering if we can hire that for the next couple of weeks to stay here because it is going to be absolutely sensational for the Australian Athletics Championships. But here tonight at the Sydney Track Classic, for me, the highlight was Danny Samuels once again showing us how good she is. As we spoke to her, she believes that national record is not too far away. Olympic Games, well, as I said to her, World Juniors, World Youth, World Championships, Commonwealth Games. She's done it all. All she needs to do is lock those two things in the bag, the national record as well as Olympic Games gold. When? Why not? Surely she can do it. But again, here on her home turf in Sydney, she reigned supreme. What about you, Robbo?
Look, Mossy, love the middle distances, and I think come 2 weeks' time when the men and women's 1,500 metre finals and the men and women's 800 metre finals come on, they will be absolute showstoppers. And we saw the main players in action here tonight. Ryan Gregson, as many predicted, he was just too strong for that pretty classy field. He's not the national record holder by accident, and he is all class. So look, he is staying fit. He's looking really red hot ahead of the Olympic campaign. I'm looking forward to him not only getting there but also doing some damage and hopefully getting to an Olympic final. So for me, Mossy, yeah, that men's 1,500 hard to top.
Well, it all sets the scene here in 2 weeks' time. Tune into the live stream and also come down live if you possibly can. That's it from Mossy and Robbo. Back up to you, girls.
Well, that's a wrap from the Sydney Track Classic. We trust you have enjoyed the coverage. You can now watch all the action from Queensland Track Classic live with live.athletics.com.au. You'll have Tamsin, Lewis Manu, Steve Kane, Matt Lynch in Brisbane. Now, we'll trust you'll tune in back again here in Sydney in a fortnight time for the big one, the 2016 Australian Athletics Championships and nomination trials. That's right, for the 2016 Rio Olympic and Paralympic Games. There'll be 3 days live showcasing Australia's greatest talent and Olympic game hopefuls. That's what we're looking forward to. Now, I'd like to say a big thank you to my co-commentator, Benita Willis, and also Mossy and Robbo from all the Trackside Insights. I have no idea how we would have coped without him, or them, more like it. Thanks so much, guys. Now, I'm Melinda Gainsford-Taylor. You've been watching the 2016 Australian Athletics Tour Summer of Aths. Bye for now.
Famous for my face. I want to be famous for my heart.